in prison. I develop mechas to break out. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51. High capacity mobile phones are launched. Li Ziyu smiled and said nothing more. At this moment, the sound of the artillery suddenly stopped. Faintly, someone could be heard shouting that something had been shot through. Everyone looked over and saw that the tank had indeed stopped firing. At this moment, a group of people walked down the stairs, led by a handsome young man, accompanied by several researchers and military personnel. Mr. Zhou. Li Ziyu hurriedly came forward and pointed at Zhou Chen and his group and said, "This is the first group of metallurgical experts who have arrived." Zhou Yang was stunned, and then he came forward and said, "Welcome, welcome. Hello, my name is Zhou Yang, and I'm the person in charge of this research institute." Ma Jingchen and others hurriedly greeted Zhou Yang. Zhou Chen wanted to come up and question Zhou Yang, but when he saw that Zhou Yang was so young, he was stunned. In addition, Zhou Yang warmly welcomed them, and Zhou Chen couldn't get angry. He nodded slightly and said, "Mr. Zhou, right? My name is Zhou Chen. I heard from this little girl that your high-strength crystal steel target is 10 centimeters thick and can withstand 100 armor-piercing bombardments. This is absolutely impossible. This kind of alloy steel, not to mention our country, no one in the world has researched it. This is academician Zhou, right?" Zhou Yang had a good memory. After reading the information, everyone remembered it. He hurriedly came forward to shake hands with Zhou Chen. This enthusiastic attitude made Zhou Chen a little uncomfortable. He shook hands with Zhou Yang in a slightly depressed mood, and then said, "Director Zhou, please answer my question." Zhou Yang noticed that Zhou Chen's tone was a little aggressive, but he didn't care. This was an academician, a big shot in the domestic smelting metal industry, who had made outstanding contributions to the country and a true national scholar. "Mr. Zhou, the test is just over. Why don't we go and see the results together?" Zhou Chen nodded. He was also very curious about the test results. Everyone got in the car and rushed to the target. The smoke at the target had slowly dissipated, and everyone got off the car. They saw that this was a high-strength concrete building. On one wall, a 2 meter by 2 meter black steel plate was cast with cement. At this moment, there was a huge pit at the center of the steel plate, and the smoke had not yet dissipated. "Mr. Zhou, it didn't penetrate." A researcher rushed over and checked behind the wall, shouting excitedly. Ma Jingchen and others were shocked. They got off the car and saw at a glance that the thickness of the steel plate was indeed as Li Ziyu said, only 50 centimeters. 50 centimeters. If it really withstands 100 rounds of armor-piercing bombs, this strength is too incredible. Zhou Chen also hurried to the back of the wall to check. They saw that this concrete wall was 1 meter thick, but at this moment, at the corresponding position of the bullet impact, the concrete had exploded into a large hole. The steel plate withstood the bombardment of the armor-piercing bullet, but the force would still be transmitted to the concrete wall. The steel plate did not break, but the 1 meter thick wall behind it was shaken out of a large hole after 100 rounds of bombardment. It really hasn't broken. When Zhou Chen arrived at the entrance of the cave, he looked at the protruding steel plate and was stunned for a moment. Zhou Yang and his group followed. Zhou Yang took a look and smiled. "Yes, the expected goal has been achieved, but it is almost at its limit. It is estimated that, if there are 10 more shells, it will be penetrated. But the first generation of samples has been successfully prepared. Next, we will officially enter the second stage of research," Zhou Yang said. The researchers on the scene cheered. Ma Jingchen and others were infected and applauded. Each of them is an expert in metal materials. Which one of them does not know what this high-strength steel represents? The motherland has become stronger, so they all feel happy from the bottom of their hearts. Zhou Chen suddenly said to Zhou Yang, "Director Zhou, I offended you just now. I'm completely convinced that you can research such alloy steel. Moreover, you are still so young and promising. I know what it means. I'm old, but old age is still useful. Just arrange our next work. I fully support it." Zhou Chen's words made Zhou Yang respect him. The older generation of researchers are like his parents. Which one of them is not dedicated to the country's strength and willing to give everything? Okay, Mr. Zhou, and all the experts, our next stage of work is to refine the crystallization to the nanometer level, and at the same time, complete the industrial mass production design of high-strength crystallized steel, as soon as possible. With the participation of a large number of metallurgical experts such as Zhou Yang, the research speed will be improved by several levels. Zhou Yang estimated that the industrial design of high-strength crystallized steel should be completed, and mass production should be achieved in a few months at most. At the same time, the popularity of Lungsan batteries continues to ferment. After BYD announced that HDM will be officially launched in large quantities in early October, Xiaomi also released the Xiaomi 10 Special Endurance version at the end of September, just as late unexpected. The battery capacity is as high as 130,000 mAh. Apart from this, there is not much difference from the Xiaomi 10 released at the same time. On the third day of the press conference, the mobile phone was officially launched for sale. But surprisingly, the endurance version of Xiaomi 10 is out of stock on all major e-commerce platforms, and Xiaomi's own official website is also in a limited rush state. All of a sudden, Xiaomi 10 has completely exploded. Major forums and self-media are discussing this matter. What the hell is Xiaomi doing? Didn't they say it was put on sale online? Why is it limited to rush purchase again, and only 500 units are released today? There are so many people in the country, and 500 units are rushing for them. I think they are all sold out in seconds. I bought the software specifically to grab it, but I still didn't grab it. Damn, I suspect that all of them were snatched away by scalpers. It's too pitiful. Mr. Lei is playing us like monkeys again. And some self-media also began to expose the news. Let's all go. This thing is just a gimmick. It's not that Xiaomi doesn't want to sell the stock, but they don't have any stock themselves. The production of Lungsan batteries is too low. Xiaomi got 1 million Lungsan batteries. One mobile phone has 16 Lungsan batteries. You can calculate how many mobile phones can be assembled. If you want a truly large capacity mobile phone, either wait or look at Huawei. According to rumors, Huawei got 10 million Lungsan batteries from BYD, so it's no problem to produce hundreds of thousands of mobile phones. And the latest news is that Huawei plans to use Lungsan batteries in its latest flagship. Because of Xiaomi's hunger marketing, Huawei's popularity has also been hyped up. Many people already know that Huawei got 10 million Lungsan batteries. And this month, Huawei has already announced that it will hold a new phone press conference. Logically, Huawei should have taken advantage of this wave of popularity to hype up the new phone. Unexpectedly, Yu Changhang posted a message on his Weibo, saying that the latest flagship Mate 40 will be released later, and all series will be equipped with high-capacity Lungsan batteries as standard. At the same time, there is a huge surprise. Yu Changhang also specially added a picture with a black background. Judging from the content, it should be a chip. This Weibo post immediately attracted huge attention. Chapter 52 Airport Attack. The number of comments under Yu Changhang's Weibo instantly exceeded 1,000. Mr. Yu is about to do something big. The release is delayed. Is he going to hold back a big move? The whole series is equipped with Lungsan batteries. Look how domineering Huawei is. Compared with Xiaomi, it chills the hearts of army fans. Why don't you say that Huawei got 10 million Lungsan batteries, while Xiaomi got 1 million? Huawei doesn't lack batteries at all. This is an external factor. What does Xiaomi have to do with it? The above person is wrong. They are talking about the picture here. Is this a chip? The United States is doing its best to sanction Huawei. I heard that the Kirin 9000 that Huawei is going to release this time will be the last swan song of Huawei chips. There will be no more Kirins in the future. It's too tragic. What's the matter? We are inferior in technology and can only be controlled by others. Fortunately, our battery technology has made a breakthrough. I have read foreign reports and comments recently. They all say that they can't eat grapes and say that grapes are sour. Some say that we are faking it. Anyway, they just don't believe that we have developed such a powerful battery. BYD is mighty. With a Lungsan battery, it dominates the world. What does it have to do with BYD? BYD itself said that they cooperated with Academician Chen of the Chinese Academy of Sciences to develop the product. The technology of the Lungsan battery is most likely from the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Academician Chen Xiangke is awesome, a great man of the country. A picture posted by Yu Changhang resonated with many people. Everyone knows that Huawei is now sanctioned by the United States, and the Kirin chip will become a thing of the past. Now that the release has been postponed again, it is most likely that there are problems with chip production again. Time flies, and it has entered November in a flash. In Wanghu village, the research and development of high-strength crystalline steel is still proceeding according to the technology. Under the leadership of Zhou Yang, the research and development team of hundreds of people made rapid progress. At the end of the month, they successfully produced the second generation of high-strength crystalline steel. In actual testing, the yield strength of the second generation of high-strength crystalline steel reached an astonishing 7200 MPa. This level is so high that it is abnormal. Now the strongest deck steel in the world is a special alloy steel produced by the E country with a yield strength of 1000 MPa. Even the M country is not as good as the E country. The yield strength of the second generation high strength crystalline steel developed by Zhou Yang is 7 times that of the strongest alloy steel in country E. In actual tests, a 15 cm thick steel plate can withstand 100 armor piercing bullets without causing the steel plate to penetrate. Such a result made the whole team extremely excited. It can be said that it is the best in the world. But Zhou Yang was still not satisfied and said, the problem of yield strength has been basically solved, but our next step is to continue to advance and upgrade factors such as lightweight, tensile strength, and resistance to extreme temperature differences. In other words, our goal is the third generation high strength crystalline steel, which is also the ultimate goal of our project. Zhou Yang's words made all the experts present quiet down, and they looked at Zhou Yang in disbelief. Such research results are not enough, and they have to continue to break through and improve. Mr. Zhao, is it necessary? Ma Jingchen asked. The current second generation high strength crystalline steel can already be the best in the world, and it is not a matter of being a little stronger than others, but several times stronger, several generations stronger. Is it necessary to spend huge amounts of money on research? Zhou Yang said, I have the final say on the project. If I say it is necessary, then it is necessary. The third generation of crystal steel can meet the requirements of mecha design. The current second generation is at most a semi-finished product. So no matter what, Zhou Yang will research the third generation. Many experts looked at each other and said no more. Anyway, the project was Zhou Yang's, and the funds were also obtained by Zhou Yang. If Zhou Yang said to do it, they would do it. Zhu Chen sighed lightly and smiled. He thought that this is what young people are like. They are never satisfied with the status quo and strive to pursue better things. If it were him, he would have been resting on his laurels. On November 5th, Li Xianshu suddenly visited. Mr. Zhao, HiSilicon has already produced a sample of Xiangxin 100. Li Xianshu smiled and reported a good news to Zhou Yang. After consulting Zhou Yang, this biological cell mimicking chip was named Xiangxin, and 100 was his code name. Oh, it's pretty fast. Zhou Yang was delighted. From September to now, it has not even been 3 months. Of course, HiSilicon has only produced laboratory samples, and it is still some distance away from formal production. Li Xianshu said, Yu Changhan contacted me, and would like to ask you to go over and give me some advice. Do you have time? Zhou Yang readily agreed. He naturally couldn't miss such a big event. On the 6th, Zhou Yang took a plane to SZ. This time, Chen Royan learned his lesson and chose the VIP channel to go out directly. At the exit of the VIP channel, Yu Changhang brought Kang Lei and a group of HiSilicon executives to rush in. Boss, what time is the flight? 9:50. The earliest people should be out at 10 o'clock. I haven't seen Mr. Zhao for more than 2 months. I'm so excited to see him now. Yes, I can finally see my idol. During this period of time, after deeply studying the biomimicking cell chip, Zhou Yang has become a god in the hearts of all HiSilicon R&D personnel. Kang Lei was also very nervous. They were like Zhou Yang's students, working hard to make some achievements, and waiting for the teacher's inspection. Their group was very eye-catching. Moreover, those who walked through the VIP channel were all business celebrities, and many of those who came to pick up the plane knew Yu Changhang. It's Mr. Yu from Huawei. In SZ, there are really few people who don't know who are Wei and Yu Changhong, especially in the business community. This kind of behemoth has too strong a penetration into a city, affecting every aspect of the entire city, so Yu Changhong's face is really more famous than ordinary stars. Is Mr. Yu here to pick up the plane? Who is he? He can even let Mr. Yu come to pick him up in person. Needless to say, he is definitely not an ordinary person. At this time, some people gradually came out of the VIP channel. Yu Changhong and others saw a young man in a woolen windbreaker, accompanied by a tall beauty. They couldn't help but brighten their eyes and quickly greeted him. Mr. Zhao. Yu Changhong hurriedly stretched out his hand to greet him. Kang Le and others were also excited and couldn't help themselves and greeted him one after another. Hello, sorry to bother you to come to the airport in person. Zhou Yang shook hands with everyone and said to Kang Le, you have produced a sample in more than 2 months, which is amazing. This compliment made Kang Le's nose sore and he almost cried. In the past 2 months, he led the team and slept only 3 or 4 hours a day, devoting himself to the research and development of Xianxin 100. Only he knew how hard it was. Okay, let's go out first, Yu Changhong said. The group set off and headed towards the parking lot. However, as they walked, a man suddenly rushed out from the crowd in front, took out a pistol from his arms, pointed it at Zhou Yang, and pulled the trigger without hesitation. The moment the gunshot rang, Zhou Yang suddenly felt something splashing on his face. At the same time, a figure fell on him and pressed him under him. In an instant, the whole airport was in chaos. Chapter 53. Your safety is more important than this. Bang, bang, bang. A series of gunshots rang out. The other party was ready to kill him from the moment he opened fire, and there was no intention of stopping. Yu Changhong and others were all shocked on the spot. But the 2 special agents brought by Chen Royan were not shocked. At the moment the other party opened fire, the 2 special agents had already taken out their pistols as if by reflex, and fired at the same time. Bang, bang, 2 gunshots. The gunman was struck by lightning. 2 bullets shot him in the face, one in the middle of his eyebrows, and one in his eyes. He was killed instantly, and fell in a pool of blood. It took only 2 or 3 seconds, like a flash of lightning, so fast that people could not react. The target is killed. The 2 special agents quickly squatted down, one on the left, and one on the right, protecting Zhou Yang in the middle. Zhou Yang fell to the ground, and then he came to his senses, and found that it was Chen Royan who pounced on him, and pressed him to the ground. Bang, bang, bang. A series of footsteps rang out, and from 20 meters away, 5 or 6 people ran over. Each of them took out a pistol. 4 of them surrounded Zhou Yang, and the remaining one rushed to the gunman, and kicked his pistol away. Quick, retreat, the lounge. Chen Royan turned over and got up, and pulled Zhou Yang up without saying anything, and asked Zhou Yang to lower his head and quickly went back to the lounge. Blood, where did the blood come from? Zhou Yang suddenly found a pool of blood on his chest, which was still warm. But Zhou Yang did not feel any pain. Let's go. Chen Royan said nothing, and quickly protected Zhou Yang, and rushed into the lounge 30 meters away with the special agents around. Yu Changhong and others were so scared that their faces turned pale, and they only reacted now. Blood, there is blood on the ground, an executive exclaimed. Yu Changhong only then realized that there was blood on the ground. Did Mr. Zhao get shot? Kang Le screamed. Yu Changhong's mind buzzed and exploded. In the lounge, the special agents rushed in, cleared the area immediately, and then blocked the door. At this moment, Chen Royan's knees suddenly weakened, and she almost fell to the ground. Zhou Yang suddenly found that there was blood on Chen Royan's back. You were shot, Zhou Yang exclaimed, and suddenly remembered what happened just now. Chen Royan, who was following him, had already discovered the other party when the gunman raised his hand to draw his gun, and immediately went around in front of Zhou Yang, and used his body to block the fatal first shot for Zhou Yang. I'm fine. Chen Royan quickly got up, cold sweat on his forehead, but he seemed to be nothing, and he was so calm that he didn't even frown. Walkie-talkie. Chen Royan shouted. One of the 5 special agents who ran over later quickly threw a small walkie-talkie over. These 5 people were special agents arranged by the local government department, secretly protecting Zhou Yang and others. Chen Royan quickly said, I'm Chen Royan. Immediately mobilize personnel and cooperate with the airport police to block all airport passages and restrict anyone from entering or leaving. At the same time, notify the local police and mobilize all special police to block all entrances and exits within 3 kilometers of the airport. After giving the order, Chen Ruoyan took out his cell phone again, dialed a number, and said only a few words calmly. Code red. These 4 short words seemed to represent something, making the expressions of the special agents present extremely solemn. After doing all this, Chen Ruoyan said again, Mr. Zhao, please be patient and don't panic. We promise that we will ensure your safety. Zhou Yang looked at Chen Ruoyan, who had cold sweat on his forehead but no expression, and became anxious. He said, I'm fine. What should you do? You were shot. There is a medical room in the airport. Let's go there quickly. No, you are shot. You need to go to a big hospital. Let's go to a big hospital. Chen Ruoyan shook his head and said, I'm fine. The situation outside is unclear. There may be lurking enemies, so we can't go out. We have to wait for support here. As he spoke, a series of footsteps came from outside. The next moment, 7 or 8 armed special agents appeared outside the lounge, surrounding the entire lounge. Chief Chen, I'm Ko Yuxing, the captain of the action team. A middle-aged man came to Zhou Yang quickly, first glanced at Zhou Yang, then breathed a sigh of relief, and reported to Chen Ruoyan. After saying that, Ko Yuxing was stunned and said, Section Chief Chen, you were shot. Chen Ruoyan stood up and said, I'm fine. Ko Yuxing, set up a defense line. Before the support arrives, we must ensure the safety of the VIP at all costs. Ko Yuxing nodded vigorously and said, Section Chief Chen, then you. Chen Ruoyan interrupted Ko Yuxing without hesitation and said, I'm fine. How can you be fine? Zhou Yang stood up and was also angry. He said, Chen Ruoyan, don't think that you are the only one in the world who can do it. There are so many people here. My safety is not a problem. Captain Ko, right? Do you listen to me? Ko Yuxing was stunned. He knew Zhou Yang's identity and knew that it was very important. He nodded and said, of course, you are also a leader, and I will obey your instructions. Well, you immediately arrange a car and take her to the nearest large hospital for me. Zhou Yang pointed at Chen Ruoyan. Ko Yuxing's face changed. Chen Ruoyan hurriedly shouted, Ko Yuxing, I see if you dare. Zhou Yang said, he doesn't dare, but I do. Chen Ruoyan, don't you even listen to me? Chen Ruoyan was stunned and stopped talking. Ko Yuxing, why are you still standing there? Let your people do it. If she dares to resist, find someone to hold her down. Zhou Yang shouted. Ko Yuxing was startled and waved his hand. Several special agents on the left and right immediately stepped forward and lifted the chair and left. Zhou Yang pointed at Ko Yuxing again and said, Ko Yuxing, I will remember you. If she gets into trouble, I will never let you go. Ko Yuxing shuddered and shouted, why are you still standing there? Send her away quickly. Several special agents immediately escorted Chen Ruoyan away. At this time, Yu Changhang and others came over outside the lounge. Mr. Zhao, are you okay? Let me in. I want to see Mr. Zhao. It was Yu Changhang who shouted, but was stopped by the special agent. Let them in. Zhou Yang said hurriedly. Ko Yuxing shook his head and said, no, their identities have not been verified, so they can't come in. Zhou Yang frowned and said, I believe them, and if there are gunmen outside, they are not safe either. Ko Yuxing still shook his head firmly and said, Mr. Zhao, your safety is more important than this. Zhou Yang had no choice but to shout, Mr. Yu, I'm fine. You wait outside and follow my instructions. Okay, I'm glad you're okay. Outside the lounge, Yu Changhang breathed a sigh of relief. At his level, he certainly knew how important Zhou Yang was and what he meant to the entire country. If something happened to Zhou Yang, it would be a disaster for many people. Chapter 54 Hostile Forces. There were so many people in the whole airport, but at Chen Ruoyan's command, the people of the airport branch, under the command of the security department, joined the airport security and quickly blocked the entire airport. All entrances and exits were managed by special people, and no one was allowed to enter or leave. What's going on? Why are there so many people here? Why don't you let me out? I have something urgent to do. Can you let me out first? Many passengers were stopped, and their dissatisfaction broke out. The leader shouted at the largest entrance and exit, "Please be patient, passengers. There are some emergencies at the airport. Please wait patiently in place." The airport broadcast also began to broadcast loudly. "Emergency, what's the situation? I don't know. It seems that someone heard gunshots over there just now. Damn, will there be a terrorist attack? Is it true or not? No, I have to leave quickly. It's too dangerous here." Many passengers didn't know why, and they rushed to the exit. "What should I do?" The leader was anxious, and reported the situation to Ko Yuxing on the intercom. Ko Yuxing was also anxious, and said in a deep voice, "What should we do? Wait for someone." Fortunately, there was an emergency response team not far from the airport. With one order, hundreds of team members immediately got on the bus, and rushed to the airport in 5 minutes, and blocked the airport. The fully armed staff still had a great deterrent effect, and the originally chaotic passengers slowly calmed down. "Forget it, it must be a big thing. I'd better wait and see. Yes, if something really happens, it may not be safe outside." The problem of passengers' riots was initially solved, and then the staff directed the passengers to enter the terminal hall and wait. After another 15 minutes, many passengers saw that dozens of large trucks parked outside the airport, and the fully armed staff got off the car, quickly lined up, and blocked the entire airport. "Damn, it's really a big thing. It's too exaggerated," countless people exclaimed, and took out their mobile phones to take pictures. Outside the lounge, although Yu Changhang was sure that Zhou Yang was fine, he was still in a state of anxiety. That guy seemed to be coming for Mr. Zhou. So scary. "What are you talking about? Could he be coming for us? We are just a group of ordinary people. What does Mr. Zhou have to do with his status? Mr. Zhou's bodyguard is really amazing. He directly blocked the bullet with his body. I only saw this kind of thing in movies before. I didn't expect it to happen in reality." Yu Changhang was upset and shouted, "Okay, stop talking." Fortunately, Mr. Zhou didn't get into trouble this time. Otherwise, it would be a big trouble. At this time, a group of people came running in the distance. They immediately stepped forward and put the entire lounge on alert. The leader shouted on the intercom as he walked, with the airport as the center, "All entrances and exits within a radius of 3 kilometers, all be blocked. Not even a fly is allowed to fly out." Behind them, another group of people came running. "Minister." The person at the door of the lounge greeted the person who came. The middle-aged man who came was Gaok Won, the director of the SZ City Security Department. Laolin. Gaok Won greeted him. Laolin nodded and said solemnly, "Let's go in first." The two entered the lounge. In the lounge, Zhou Yang sat steadily, but he was still a little anxious, worried about Chen Ruoyan's injury. "Mr. Zhou, it's great that you're okay," Gaok Won said hurriedly. Laolin also stepped forward and said to Zhou Yang, "Mr. Zhou, let's leave now." Zhou Yang nodded and said, "Okay, but I want to go to the new district hospital." "This," Gaok Won said with some embarrassment, "I'm afraid this is not very safe." Zhou Yang looked at Gaok Won and said, "Let's go. Don't make it so serious, as if the sky is falling." Gaok Won hesitated for a moment, and had to nod, and said to Ko Yuxing, "Ko Yuxing, you go to the new district hospital now to guard." Ko Yuxing nodded and went immediately. "Then let's go." Zhou Yang stood up and walked out. When he came to the outside of the lounge, Zhou Yang saw Yu Changhang and his group who were stopped in the corner. "Laolin, can you bring my friend with you and go together?" Zhou Yang said. Laolin thought about it, and nodded in agreement. The group, under escort, quickly went to the underground parking lot. The security department arranged 2 cars. Zhou Yang got on one, while Yu Changhang and others got on the other. They slowly drove out of the airport and headed for the new district hospital. "What is Mr. Zhou's identity?" Kang Le asked. Yu Changhang said with a serious expression, "Okay, don't ask if you shouldn't ask." Yu Changhang knew that Zhou Yang's identity was not ordinary, because the country came forward to cooperate. He also had his own guesses in his heart, because the partner this time was Matrix Energy. Lenovo Byte split the battery business, and cooperated with Matrix Energy, which was exactly the same as his own side. Yu Changhang boldly guessed in his heart that Zhou Yang was very likely the developer of the Lungsum battery. Such a great man of the country. Any kind of treatment is normal. The group arrived at the new district hospital smoothly. Zhou Yang came to the operating room. Chen Ruoyan had been sent to the operating room and was undergoing surgery. Mr. Zhao, I have asked the doctor. Section Chief Chen sent it in time, so there should be no big problem. Gaokwon said softly. Zhou Yang breathed a sigh of relief. If Chen Ruoyan died to block the bullet for him, he would never forgive himself. But this girl was really ruthless. She blocked the bullets as she said. She was just a bodyguard. Was it necessary to fight so hard? By the way, who attacked me? Zhou Yang asked. Gaokwon's face changed slightly. After thinking for a while, he said, we have conducted a preliminary investigation and ruled out many possibilities. The identity of the gunman has also been investigated. It should be arranged by hostile forces. Hostile forces? Zhou Yang raised his eyebrows and understood instantly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55. You don't know how important you are. In modern society, information spreads at an alarming speed. The news that SZ Airport was blocked by a large number of special police and soldiers was posted online almost immediately, and a large number of videos were found by searching. The real-time popularity of Douyin also rose rapidly, topping the list. The number of comments below instantly exceeded hundreds of thousands. Oh my god, what is going on? There was such a loud noise that even the soldiers came out. It is said that the airport heard gunshots and then stopped all the tourists from leaving the airport. Not only are they not allowed to leave, they are not allowed to enter either. Just now, the highway to the airport has been controlled for traffic. I heard that the area 3 kilometers away from the airport is blocked by the police and all the cars have been parked. Are they conducting an anti-terrorism exercise? Probably not. If they were conducting an anti-terrorism exercise, they would usually notify in advance, and they wouldn't control so many passengers. It's most likely that something really happened. Didn't they hear gunshots? Maybe they were gangsters causing trouble. Doesn't the airport have security checks? How could someone bring a gun in? And even if there were gangsters robbing or something, they wouldn't rob the airport, right? And even if there really were, the police would be enough to deal with it. Why did they even bring the army here? I'm at the airport. Let me tell you, at least a regiment of troops came. It's scary. There was a lot of discussion on the internet, and the major media were like cats smelling fish, rushing here frantically, but they were all stopped. At this time, someone soon discovered that a large number of soldiers had appeared in the new district hospital, which was closest to the airport. The entire building was blocked and on alert. The major media, which were unable to find news, all flocked to the new district hospital. Director, there are a lot of reporters outside. A subordinate reported to Gaokwon. Gaokwon frowned. Now information spreads too fast. Everyone has a mobile phone. If something happens, they can just take a video and upload it to the internet. If they react a little slower, the video will spread all over the sky, and it will be impossible to control it. Zhou Yang also heard it and said, Director Gao, this matter should not be made too big. The impact is too bad. If there is no problem at the airport, it is better to withdraw the people as soon as possible and restore normal order. As for this side, there is no need for so many people to guard it. Zhou Yang said. Gaokwon also understood this, and after thinking for a while he said, Mr. Zhao, we can evacuate, but you have to go with us to a safer place, because we don't know now whether the other party has any backup plans. So even if we want to withdraw the guards, we have to make sure you are safe first. Zhou Yang wanted to stay in the hospital until the operation was over, but he knew that Gaokwon would definitely not withdraw if he didn't leave, so he thought for a while and said, okay, I'll go with you. Okay. Gaokwon nodded quickly, thought for a while and said, Colonel Lin, I don't think the ground may be safe. Don't you have an army aviation regiment over there? Can you send a helicopter to pick up Mr. Zhao and go to your camp first? I think no matter how brave the other party is, they dare not attack your camp. Colonel Lin nodded and said, this is a good idea. Let's go to our camp. I'll arrange it right away. Give me 10 minutes. Zhou Yang was speechless after hearing this and said, no, why take a helicopter? It's a waste of time and money. There's no need for it. No, it is necessary, Mr. Zhou. Even if you don't know how important you are, we know that these are necessary for your safety. Gaokwon said. Zhou Yang opened his mouth and nodded. After thinking for a while, Zhou Yang stood up again and came to Yu Changhang and others. Mr. Yu, I'm sorry. With this incident, I'm afraid that the trip to High Silicon will be delayed for 2 days. Let me see, the day after tomorrow, and I'll have someone notify you in advance. Zhou Yang said. Yu Changhang shook his head and said, Mr. Zhou, please don't say that. No one wants to encounter such a thing. I should say sorry for scaring you. Zhou Yang waved his hand and said to Kang Le, you did a good job this time. I also have shares in Matrix Energy. I'm half of your leader. So, I will make a decision and give you 2 days off to have a good rest and relax. The day after tomorrow, I will go to see your research results again. Kang Le nodded blankly. These science and engineering men have not come back to their senses yet. After waiting for a while, Colonel Lin informed that everything had been arranged and said, there is a helipad on the top of the hospital. Let's go directly to the top floor. Zhou Yang nodded and waved goodbye to Yu Changhang and others. Kang Le leaned out of the window and soon saw a military helicopter flying away. His mouth opened wide instantly. But thinking about Zhou Yang's identity, leaving on a military plane didn't seem to be a big deal. After arriving at the camp by helicopter, Zhou Yang was arranged to stay in the guest house. 4 hours later, Li Xianshu hurried over. The first thing he said when he saw Zhou Yang was, Mr. Zhou, this time it was a serious mistake in our work. You were frightened. Don't worry, we will never let something like this happen again in the future. Li Xianshu, who was away from home, heard that Zhou Yang was attacked by gunmen at the airport. He almost couldn't breathe and was scared to death. Lungsan batteries, BO cell chips, high-strength crystalline steel. The emergence of Zhou Yang has solved many pain points in national science and technology, and Zhou Yang is still young. Who knows what results Zhou Yang can research? At this time, if Zhou Yang gets into trouble, then Li Xianshu will be the sinner of the country. The senior officials who got the news were also furious. Li Xianshu was the first to come, and then there will be senior officials who will come in person to express their condolences. Zhou Yang was very calm and said, it's okay. I returned to China to do these researches, and I expected something like this to happen. Back then, my parents were killed by hostile forces. They would rather die than reveal any information. Then I will not give up my research work, because I'm afraid of death. Li Xianshu was moved. He had investigated Zhou Yang's parents, and knew what Zhou Yang's parents had paid for the country. By the way, how is Chen Ruan? Is the operation over? Zhou Yang asked. Li Xianshu nodded and said, the operation is over. It was very successful and there are no sequelae. That's good. Zhou Yang breathed a sigh of relief. If Chen Ruan got into trouble, he would not forgive himself. Have you investigated this matter clearly? Zhou Yang asked. Hostile forces, the United States. The key is, why country M is targeting him. Is it just because of his release from prison? That shouldn't be the case. It's been so long since that happened, and country M wouldn't assassinate him in country C, just because of such a small matter. Li Xianshu said, I don't know the specific situation, but Director Han from the Special Intelligence Bureau is here too. How about asking him to introduce you? Zhou Yang then noticed Han Haining following behind Li Xianshu. Chapter 56 Public Chip. Han Haining stepped forward. This time, Han Haining was also scared out of his wits. Chen Ruan was his subordinate, directly responsible for Zhou Yang's security. If Zhou Yang really got into trouble, a large number of people would definitely be implicated, and he, Han Haining, would be the first to bear the brunt, and would definitely not be able to escape. Mr. Zhou. Han Haining stepped forward and said, we haven't fully investigated the course of events, but we can roughly guess a thread, and the cause should be the Lungsan Battery press conference, where Chen Ruan led you to cut in line. Oh. Zhou Yang was surprised. How could it be related to this matter? Han Haining immediately told him about Zheng Yun's situation. Their Special Intelligence Bureau 6th Bureau had also investigated this matter in detail, and they also knew some news from the Intelligence Department of Country M. They knew that it was because of this incident that Zhou Yang entered the site of the Intelligence Department of Country M. Zhou Yang frowned and sighed. So that's how it is. Cyanide chemical. Zhou Yang really didn't expect that there was such a grudge here. Then what happened? The Intelligence Department of Country M speculated that I was the developer of the Lungsam battery, so they sent someone to assassinate me. Zhou Yang said. Han Haining nodded and said, it seems to be the case now. Zhou Yang snorted coldly, Country M wants me to die, so I will develop something more powerful and make my motherland the strongest country in the world. Good. Li Xianshu applauded and said, Mr. Zhao, I admire you for what you said. Don't worry, from now on, the research and development will be left to you, and the rest will be left to us. Han Haining also nodded vigorously and said, Mr. Zhao, I, Han Haining, swear here that, if I'll let you suffer any harm again, I will come to see you with my head. The video about the airport is still circulating wildly on the internet. The official also issued an announcement to refute the rumor as soon as possible, saying that this was an extreme gangster who wanted to attack his enemy with a homemade gun because of a personal dispute, but he had been subdued. At the same time, with the help of technical means, the matter was slowly suppressed. But Zhou Yang knew that Country M would not give up. But Zhou Yang had nothing to fear. The next day, Zhou Yang went to High Silicon headquarters to check out samples of biomimicking cell chips. Yu Changhang was still the one who received Zhou Yang. Seeing Zhou Yang, he apologized again. Okay, it's all over. Let's go and see the results of your research over the past 2 months. Zhou Yang said. Yu Changhang nodded and took Zhou Yang to the laboratory. Kang Le and others had been waiting early. When they saw Zhou Yang, they all came up excitedly. After the polite talk, Zhou Yang looked at a chip on the laboratory table. Is this Xiangxin 100? Zhou Yang asked. The whole chip is very small, 1.5 centimeters long and wide. Excluding the external packaging material, the actual chip size is only 1 centimeter long and wide, and the thickness is only about 1 millimeter. Can I take it? Zhou Yang asked. Kang Le nodded quickly. Zhou Yang then took it up. If you look at it from the outside, it is no different from the existing silicon-based chips, but the inside is very interesting. Have you tested the performance? Kang Le said, it has been tested. Here are the test data. Compared with A14, its performance is 112 times that of A14. In theoretical design, the performance of Xiangxin 100 is more than 100 times that of A14. But unexpectedly, after it was actually made, the performance was even stronger. Wow, 112 times. This is too exaggerated. Li Xianshu also came with him. After hearing this, he couldn't help but exclaimed. Kang Le said proudly, its main frequency has reached an astonishing 340 GHz, and it has amazing performance in floating point operations and multi-threaded operations. It is no exaggeration to say that this small chip has a computing power comparable to that of a small supercomputer. Li Xianshu nodded vigorously. Although he didn't quite understand, he only needed to understand one thing. Xiangxin 100 is very strong, the kind that beats all the chips in the world. Zhou Yang put down the chip. After more than 2 months, High Silicon has produced samples, which has made him very satisfied. Then let's move on to the next stage, industrial production. Zhou Yang said with a smile. Kang Le and the researchers on site cheered excitedly. Although the chip has been successfully researched, it is not considered a success if Zhou Yang, the developer, does not say it is successful. Zhou Yang looked at Yu Changhang and said, how is the supporting factory prepared? The design of the chip is one aspect, and the key is to be able to produce it. From the raw materials of the chip to slicing, electroacupuncture guidance, curing, and packaging, the entire production process involves hundreds of process links, which is not a simple matter. Zhou Yang provided the relevant production process design. So while the chip was being developed, High Silicon also assigned a large number of researchers to carry out industrial design research and development. Yu Changhang smiled and said, thanks to the design information you proposed, Mr. Zhao, nearly 80% of the problems have been solved, especially the most critical electroacupuncture equipment, which has also been successfully developed. I think that at most 1 month, all the designs can be completed, and then another month will be spent on equipment installation and debugging. If there are no problems, the production problems should be solved in 2 months at the fastest. The entire project is not short of money. The country has provided hundreds of billions of funds, so HiSilicon has recruited a lot of people crazily, greatly improving its research and development capabilities. But the most important thing is that Zhou Yang has completed the entire industrial design. Zhou Yang provided the design and process requirements of the equipment. Even the control system of these equipment was completed in advance. Without considering the funds and investment, it is still possible to complete the industrial design and put it into production in more than 4 months. Li Xianshu was shocked. He didn't expect that Xiangxin 100 would be put into production so quickly. However, Li Xianshu felt that just like the Lungshan battery, it was all thanks to Zhou Yang who solved the industrial design. Otherwise it would not be so fast. Okay. Zhou Yang nodded with satisfaction. The chip problem was solved. By the way, Yu Changhang suddenly said, while Mr. Zhou and Director Li are here, I have something to discuss with you. Is this Xiangxin 100 going to hold a press conference and make it public to the world? This kind of high-end chip, once announced, will definitely cause an uproar worldwide. And Yu Changhang didn't know what the country's attitude was. Was it going to continue to hide its strength or expose it? You know, even HiSilicon's separation from Huawei and joining Matrix Energy was not disclosed to the public. Li Xianshu hesitated for a moment and said, this is a big deal. I need to report it to the higher-ups and ask for instructions. By the way, what do you think, Mr. Zhou? Li Xianshu looked at Zhou Yang. Zhou Yang's thoughts were the key. Why not make it public? Zhou Yang smiled and said, this is a great thing that the whole world must be happy about. Besides, our country is no longer afraid of any threats. Why should we hide it? We should use fair means to scare the enemy and make him surrender. Li Xianshu's expression became serious, and he immediately said, I understand. I will convey your words to the higher-ups. Chapter 57 Press Conference, Xiangxin 100. A few days later, the higher-ups made a decision to make it public. Just like Mr. Zhou said, our country is no longer afraid of any challenges. There is no need to hide it. If we want to become the world's #1, we must show the world's #1 spirit and make the core of science and technology so that our opponents can only look up to us. Li Xianshu said so. Yu Changhang nodded excitedly. If he had come up with such a good thing, it would be too bad if he kept it secret and could not release it. It just so happened that during this period, Huawei was stuck by the United States, and Xiangxin 100 was the best counterattack. On November 20th, Yu Changhang posted a message on his Weibo. December 1st Kingshan Center, I will meet you unexpectedly in the future. As the saying goes, the shorter the content, the greater the amount of information. Yu Changhang's Weibo quickly made the headlines and attracted widespread attention. Mr. Yu is about to do something big. Mr. Yu sent a picture of a chip before, and I speculated at the time that Huawei was going to make a big move. Well, the big move is finally here. I guess Huawei should have solved the chip production problem. If so, that's good. That's impossible. If TSMC doesn't produce for Huawei, who else can produce for Huawei? Don't dream about relying on domestic semiconductor manufacturers. Maybe it's the launch of a new phone. The release of Mate 40 has been postponed for so long, it will definitely be released. If it's just Mate 40 with Lungshan batteries installed, then I look down on Huawei. It has been postponed for so long, but it's still the same. How can it be worthy of us fans? That's right, the production problem of Lungshan batteries has been solved. Many mobile phone manufacturers have already obtained a large number of Lungshan batteries. Xiaomi is fast and has started to distribute them in large quantities. It is estimated that starting next month, all major manufacturers' flagships equipped with Lungshan batteries will be released. To be honest, Lungshan batteries are really good, with more than 100,000 mAh. I basically charge them once a month now. There was a lot of discussion online, and major media outlets also tried hard to get information about the press conference from various channels. However, Huawei's confidentiality was so good that no news was leaked until the day of the press conference. Guanghu Village. There was a knock on the door. Zhou Yang, who was busy typing code, did not hear it. The other party opened the door by himself and walked in quietly. At 9:40, the other party reminded him, "Mr. Zhao, it's almost time." Zhou Yang subconsciously hummed and suddenly realized that the voice was not Li Xiao's. He turned around suddenly and met a pair of beautiful eyes. Chen Ruoyan. Zhou Yang's eyes widened. The person who came was Chen Ruoyan. "Mr. Zhao." Chen Ruoyan smiled and nodded. It was rare for this iceberg beauty to smile. "Okay." Zhou Yang stood up excitedly and wanted to hug Chen Ruoyan to welcome her back, but he felt it was inappropriate to go forward, so he stretched out his hand. "Welcome back." Chen Ruoyan shook hands with Zhou Yang and said, "I should thank you very much. You gave me my life." Under the circumstances at that time, if Chen Ruoyan insisted on staying at the airport, it would definitely be a big problem. Zhou Yang insisted on sending her to the hospital, which really saved her life. Zhou Yang smiled and said, "Come on, you helped me block a bullet. We are even. By the way, don't do this next time." Chen Ruoyan smiled. Next time she encounters a similar situation, she will still rush forward without hesitation. "By the way, what did you tell me just now?" Zhou Yang asked. Chen Ruoyan said, "Your schedule requires you to watch Huawei's press conference, which will start in 20 minutes. As she said that, Chen Ruoyan stepped forward and turned on the TV. CCTV1 directly broadcasted live. Compared with the last Byte press conference, this time the specifications are higher. The importance of Xiaxin 100 is still higher than that of the Lungsum battery. Okay, pour me a cup of tea." Zhou Yang sat down. This time, the security department would never allow him to watch the event live again, and Yu Changhang didn't dare to invite Zhou Yang again. On TV, reporters were introducing the situation outside the Kingshan Conference Center. The entire Kingshan Center can accommodate 7,000 spectators. Now the audience is entering one after another. In addition to the enthusiastic ordinary audience, Huawei also invited a large number of industry insiders. Okay, let's turn the camera to the interior of the Kingshan Center. Not only CCTV, but all major mainstream media broadcast live on the internet. The live broadcast room on Douyin has more than 10 million viewers. What a grand ceremony. I heard CCTV even broadcasted it. I heard Yu Changhang also went to Byte's press conference last time. Did he see CCTV broadcasting it live? So he also asked CCTV to broadcast it live? To be honest, it's really inappropriate for a company's press conference to be broadcast live by the official media. Yes, the official media should be more formal. It's okay to broadcast scientific and technological achievements that benefit the country and the people, such as the Lungsum battery, but why broadcast a mobile phone release by Huawei? Many netizens discussed it. The time came to 10 o'clock in the morning, and the press conference started on time. Huawei's press conferences have always been simple, without too many bells and whistles. The speaker of the press conference was Yu Changhang again. Yu Changhang, dressed in a suit, walked onto the press conference stage with firm steps. Yu Changhang first briefly announced Huawei's development achievements in the previous stage, and finally said, "Next, we have a special guest." As he spoke, a young man walked up from the backstage. There were many financial reporters at the scene, and many of them quickly recognized the young man. "Damn, I know this guy. Matrix Energy, he's you. It's really him. I heard that Matrix Energy is very mysterious. Byte split its battery business and was acquired by Matrix Energy. Some people have analyzed it a long time ago. Matrix Energy should be backed by the country. How could the country trust a private enterprise to be responsible for such a strategic scientific and technological achievement as the Lungsum battery? The key is not this, but why Matrix Energy came to Huawei's press conference. Could it be? Some reporters have guessed the reason. On the stage, Yu Changhang also announced the reason. "Let us welcome Mr. Heziu from Matrix Energy. Next, I will announce a decision on behalf of Huawei." In fact, this decision was made more than 2 months ago, but it was only announced now. That is, HiSilicon Kirin will be separated from Huawei and merged into Matrix Energy in the form of technology investment, becoming a subsidiary of Matrix Energy. The specific merger plan will not be announced here. Although Yu Changhang's words were simple, they caused an uproar at the scene. HiSilicon Kirin, a semiconductor company that Huawei spent a lot of money to build, is also the top chip design company in China. Huawei invests tens of billions in HiSilicon Kirin every year. Someone has already calculated that the valuation of HiSilicon Semiconductor alone exceeds 100 billion. It is too exaggerated that such a 100 billion company was directly swallowed up by Matrix Energy. Chapter 58 Debut. There was a heated discussion at the scene. Matrix Energy is too powerful. First it swallowed up the battery department, and now it has even taken over HiSilicon Kirin. It is invincible. You should say that the country is powerful. Anyone with a little bit of brains should understand that Matrix Energy is the result of the national team. Yes, if it is not the national team, Matrix Energy can be so mysterious. So far, except for the name, even the industrial and commercial information cannot be found. The people who came to the scene were all business celebrities and senior reporters. They were well informed. It was not surprising that Matrix Energy was able to swallow up HiSilicon Kirin, which is worth hundreds of billions. With the strength of the national team, not to mention HiSilicon Kirin's valuation of hundreds of billions, even if it is valued at trillions, it can be swallowed in minutes. The only thing that shocked them was that HiSilicon Kirin was willing to sell itself. This HiSilicon Kirin can be regarded as V's core business, and V is not a listed company, but a private enterprise. No matter how much capital wants to invest in them, they all return empty-handed. What does this show? It shows that Huawei does not need capital investment at all. The key is that it is not short of money. Now it has suddenly sold itself to the national team. Many reporters' eyes are shining. There are big problems here. The spectators on the major live streaming platforms did not have such knowledge. Fuck, this Matrix Energy is too awesome. It even swallowed HiSilicon Kirin. Could any big boss tell me how much HiSilicon Kirin is worth? How much is it worth? At least 100 billion. I'm stunned. What is the origin of this Matrix Energy? It seems that it swallowed up a certain D before. It didn't swallow up a certain D, but swallowed up a certain D's battery business. But even so, it is also awesome. A certain D's battery business is worth at least hundreds of billions. At the press conference, after announcing the first blockbuster news, Yu Changhang simply introduced Hezeu's identity without going into too much detail. Hezeu is just a mascot, and some things are not convenient to disclose to the public. Then we will enter the next stage. Yu Changhang waited for Hezeu to step down before continuing. Some time ago, many people knew that we were sanctioned by the United States, and our chip business suffered a huge blow. Many people speculated that our next generation of chips would be stillborn. After these words came out, the scene was silent. On the live broadcast platform, there was a lot of indignation, all of which were comments cursing the United States. The United States is so abominable. First it was Xing, and now it's V in the final analysis. It's because we don't have the core technology and our technology is inferior to others. If you fall behind, you will be beaten. When will this day end? V is still good. Unlike Xing, it was ruined directly. V at least managed to survive until now. I said, no matter what phone V releases today, you must support it. Yes, support domestic products. At the press conference, Yu Changhang said, however, in this adversity, our lovely R&D personnel still worked hard to develop the next generation chip, which is 1000. The picture of 1000 appeared on the big screen. There was a cheer at the scene. The live broadcast platform was full of 666. It is indeed a new generation of chips. There was news before that Huawei has already figured out the next generation of chips, which is the most powerful chip ever. The key is production. TSMC seems to no longer be a foundry for V. Domestic companies cannot produce the 5nm process. If the chip is developed, but cannot be produced, it is useless. Don't be pessimistic, the person above. It is already amazing to be able to research it. There was warm applause at the press conference. Everyone can imagine how difficult it is to research 1000 under the heavy pressure of sanctions from the United States. Yu Changhang waved his hand, signaling everyone to be quiet, and then said, there should be applause here, but I want to tell you that we at V will do more than that. After a pause, Yu Changhang waved his hand vigorously, accompanied by inspiring background music, and the picture on the big screen suddenly changed, and a brand new chip appeared. Everyone showed puzzled expressions. Why another chip? Yu Changhang said, we have learned from our mistakes and decided to fundamentally change our R&D. Here, we would like to thank one person for bringing us a new future. For the sake of confidentiality, I cannot reveal the identity of this person, but in the hearts of our tens of thousands of R&D personnel, he will always be remembered. The audience looked at each other, saying that they did not understand at all. Yu Changhang introduced this person so solemnly, but he could not say who this person was, and for the sake of confidentiality, so who was this person, and what did he do? Okay. Yu Changhang said loudly. Then next, let me solemnly introduce this biomimetic cell chip with complete independent intellectual property rights and about to enter mass production. It is Core 100. There was silence at the scene. Everyone was in a state of confusion. Wasn't it supposed to introduce 1000? How did it suddenly become Core 100? And what the hell is a biomimetic cell chip? And it is about to enter mass production. When did it start to produce chips by itself? Hasn't it always been just designing chips? But the perceptive people have already reacted. Yu Changhang is going to reveal explosive news. 1000 was not introduced, but the Core 100 was introduced in a grand manner. Doesn't that mean that in HiSilicon's mind, the Core 100 is the main chip? Yu Changhang said, the bio cell-like chip is a brand new chip that is different from any other chip in the world today. It uses a brand new basic material and has a brand new internal structure. I'm sorry that I can't reveal the specific details of the chip, but I can tell you that in this 1 centimeter square, 1 millimeter thick chip, there are 2.6 trillion transistor-like structures. That's right. 2.6 trillion, which is 100 times the number of transistors in Apple's A14 chip. Boom. The atmosphere at the scene seemed to explode directly, and the whole audience was in an uproar. 2.6 trillion transistors are 100 times that of A14. A14 is known as the most powerful chip on the surface of the Earth, and Xiangxin 100 has a transistor structure that is 100 times that of it. Yu Changhang's words were like a bomb, blowing everyone's brain blank. And in the live broadcast rooms of various platforms, everyone was speechless. Everyone was in shock. As if the shock was not big enough, Yu Changhang said, Core 100 will have a main frequency of 340 GHz. What does this number mean? You can think of it this way. Its computing power is equivalent to that of a small supercomputer. Oh my god, the main frequency is 340 GHz. Am I hallucinating? Such a small chip can have such a high main frequency. Damn it. Many people in the audience were already screaming. The main frequency of 340 GHz is too exaggerated. Chapter 59 Intel. Are you panic? In the live broadcast rooms of major platforms. Still in a state of loss of voice, Yu Changhang did not introduce in detail what materials and designs are used in Xiangxin 100, and directly said words that ordinary people can understand. The transistor structure is as high as 2.6 trillion, which is 100 times that of the strongest chip currently available. The main frequency is 340 GHz, which is also more than 100 times that of A14. In short, in one sentence, the performance is 100 times that of the strongest chip on the surface, A14. This is not an improvement of one or several times, but a direct improvement of 100 times. Moore's law has completely lost its effect at this moment. At the press conference, there was endless discussion. Professionals have speculated before that the performance of Kirin 1000 should not be as good as A14, but should be able to catch up with Xi'an along 865. After all, Apple's A-series chips have been lonely for many years and represent the strongest technological level on the surface. But now, while Huawei has developed Kirin 1000, it has also developed Xiangxin 100. The key is that the performance of Xiangxin 100 is completely black technology, the existence of alien technology. A one-time or several-fold improvement is still acceptable, but a 100-fold improvement is simply outrageous. Mr. Yu, are you telling the truth? This Xiangxin 100, can't it be fake? Because these data really look fake. A reporter couldn't help but shout. This statement speaks out the thoughts of everyone present. It's no wonder they don't believe it. It's really that your Xiangxin 100 is so abnormal that it's unbelievable. A person came on stage and gave Yu Changhang a mobile phone. Yu Changhang held up the phone and said, "This is our new flagship phone, Mate 40 Pro, which will be launched at this press conference. It will be equipped with the Xiaoxin 100 chip. Originally, I should have introduced this latest flagship phone, but the major media reporters have basically exposed what should be exposed, so there is nothing to introduce. After all, the protagonist today is our Xiaoxin 100. There was another uproar in the audience. In order to introduce Xiaoxin 100, they didn't even bother to introduce the latest flagship phone. But everyone couldn't care less, and everyone's attention was on the phone in Yu Changhang's hand. A mobile phone equipped with Xiaoxin 100. Yu Changhang said, to be specific about how powerful this mobile phone is, and to use some professional terms, I'm afraid that many people will not be able to understand, so let's be simple and direct, such as running a score first. Yu Changhang turned on the mobile phone and said, then let's run an Antu first. The picture of the mobile phone was projected on the big screen. Everyone saw Yu Changhang open the Antu test software and start running the score. The latest Apple 12 equipped with A14 has an Ananta score of 570,000 points. Let's see how many points our Xiaoxin 100 can run. The software started running and calculated. A few minutes later, the result popped up. Seeing the number that popped up, everyone present, as well as the many viewers before the live broadcast, all took a breath and were shocked. How many points is this? 8 digits. Holy shit, it actually ran out of more than 65 million points. What the hell? This world is crazy. Isn't Antu's data wrong? More than 60 million points? Are you serious? Everyone felt like they were going crazy. It was said to be 100 times that of A14, and it really was more than 100 times. Yu Changhang said, I'm afraid some people don't believe this score and think we are faking it. You can also open your mobile phone and check the Antu's running score ranking. There should be data for our phone. Many people immediately took out their mobile phones and started to check. Sure enough, a mobile phone suddenly appeared on the Antu's running score ranking. Huawei Mate 40 Pro, and the running score was exactly the running score number that Yu Changhang had just said, more than 65 million. Yu Changhang said, if someone thinks that Antu's running score is not professional enough, then we can change the software, Geekbench, which is a very professional running score software from abroad, so let's test it. As far as I know, the running score data of A14 on Geekbench is 1583 for single core and 4198 for multi-core. The running score of Snapdragon 865 is only 845 points for single core and 3106 points for multi-core. As he spoke, Yu Changhang had already opened the software and started testing. Countless people held their breath and watched the software run. Soon, the results came out. Everyone widened their eyes again. Geekbench did not recognize this chip, but the score still came out, with a single core score of more than 181,000 points and a multi-core score of more than 478,000 points. Compared with the running score of A14, this number can no longer be said to be a crushing defeat, but a second kill. Yu Changhang smiled and said, you should have seen the amazing performance of Xiaoxin. What do you think such a chip can do? Open hundreds of applications and run them in the background. Due to the memory limitation, it may not be as good as you imagined. Or play the mobile game with the best graphics. Don't make a fuss. I can say that any mobile game now can run smoothly with the highest graphics on Xiaoxin 100. I'm too lazy to test this aspect. Many people laughed knowingly. Indeed, Xiaoxin 100 is too powerful. I'm afraid that any game can be easily handled. Yu Changhang said, Xiaoxin 100 has a performance of 100 times that of the strongest chip now. Maybe you will never be able to run the CPU at full power after buying this phone, because the performance is too redundant. Since it is the first show of Xiaoxin 100, we have no intention of castrating its performance. So we think that Xiaoxin 100 should be of great use in more fields. For example, a computer. As soon as Yu Changhang said this, countless people at the scene widened their eyes and gasped. Fuck, Huawei is really going to do something big. Not only is it eyeing the mobile platform, it's also planning to get involved in the desktop platform. The key is that this Xiangxin 100 is too powerful, 100 times more powerful than the A14. Even if the desktop level CPU is more powerful, it must be at least dozens of times more powerful. Now I want to know if the toothpaste factory is watching the press conference. If they are, I want to ask you if you are panicking. Yu Changhang waved his hand, and someone brought a laptop. You should know that mobile phone chips mainly use the ARM architecture, while desktop CPUs use the x86 architecture. Different architectures are destined to make them incompatible. But this has changed in the new generation of biomimetic cell chips. It has a brand new architecture, and this architecture is backward compatible with the ARM and x86 architectures. In other words, our Xiangxin 100 can be used on both mobile and desktop platforms. The scene exploded again, one explosion after another, making them feel like they were on a roller coaster. Before they could calm down, they climbed to the top again. Yu Changhang pointed at the notebook in front of him and said, "There are many professionals here. They should know some common sense. For example, why doesn't Intel produce graphics cards and Nvidia produce CPUs? Is it because they don't have the technology? Of course not. Just like Intel, you know they are the largest chip manufacturer, but they are also the largest graphics card manufacturer. Their integrated graphics cards have a much higher market share than Nvidia. They have the technology. Why don't they do it? Do they despise the profits? Of course not. It's because of patents. Nvidia and AMD have spent many years building up a patent wall." Chapter 60 Warwick's Ambition. If you are not a professional, you may not know what Yu Changhang said. The live broadcast platform was also confused. Does Intel still produce graphics cards? Isn't Nvidia the world's largest graphics card manufacturer? The above person is ignorant. You only know that independent graphics cards can be used to play games, but you don't know that most computers are equipped with integrated graphics cards, and Intel is the undisputed leader in this regard. At the press conference, Yu Changhang continued, "Patents are a wall that cannot be circumvented. But now it's different, because our biological cell mimicking chips are fundamentally different from any chip in modern society, so patent issues are not a problem for us. Because we have redefined chips." Yu Changhang opened the notebook in front of him. Xiangxin 100 has strong compatibility due to its special design. In fact, the CPUs of mobile platforms and desktop platforms are essentially the same. The reason for the big difference is mainly the difference in energy consumption. The same chip can be used universally on different platforms. For example, this notebook is equipped with our Xiangxin 100. Its motherboard is designed by us, based on the mobile platform, but because of the underlying architecture, it is compatible with the x86 architecture of the current desktop platform. At the same time, there is another key point, which is the GPU. I have said before that Mate 40 Pro can run any mobile game on the market smoothly. In addition to its powerful performance, it also has our newly designed GPU. This GPU is also a BO cell-like chip, so we can perfectly bypass all the current patent walls and design it as we please, so that it also has incredible performance. As for how strong the performance is, let's test it. After Yu Changhang finished speaking, the live broadcast platform was full of ghosts and wolves howling again. Leo Huang, I just want to ask if you are panicking now. As before, many people typed the same words. Huawei is thinking that the matter is not big enough today and plans to challenge several fields at once. At the press conference, Yu Changhang has already opened his laptop. It is still equipped with Microsoft system. Seeing this, many professionals nodded. It seems that what Yu Changhang said, that Xiangxin 100 is compatible with x86 architecture, is not a lie. Yu Changhang said, "We can test the video rendering first. This is a video that our design team helped me make. You can see how strong the rendering ability of Xiangxin 100 is. As the saying goes, modeling consumes graphics cards, rendering consumes CPU. CG rendering, video rendering are the most considered CPU computing power. Sometimes, a video of just a few seconds may take several hours to render." Yu Changhang opened a professional rendering software and started rendering. The original modeling started to render at the speed of video playback. Light and shadow appeared, and materials appeared. In just over 10 seconds, the video was rendered. Under normal circumstances, using a workbench level computer to render such a video, it would probably take several hours, but now, everyone has seen how fast it is. Everyone did see it. Many people who work in film and television post-production and video rendering feel a tingling sensation when they see Yu Changhang's testing process. They know best how much time and effort this kind of video rendering takes. Now, the emergence of Xiangxin 100 has directly changed the entire industry. It's too exaggerated. For such a period of time, if it is a mainstream configuration, it will take at least a day and a night, not a few hours. That's right, you don't know how slow this thing is to render. This Xiangxin 100 is really amazing, but it has such strong performance, so it's normal to have such performance. Everyone talked about it, and the press conference was also in an uproar. Yu Changhang said again, by the way, let's play another game. My employee told me that the game with the strongest graphics now is a game called Cyberpunk, which has super strong requirements for graphics cards. So let's try it with this laptop. Yu Changhang clicked on the game that he had downloaded in advance. On the big screen, everyone could clearly see that the game entered in seconds, with almost no loading process. Yu Changhang adjusted all the game screens to the highest. This game is a real graphics card killer. The 3090, which is known as the most powerful graphics card in the universe, cannot run at 60 frames. However, everyone found that the notebook in Yu Changhang's hand can run the entire game smoothly at the highest picture quality. Seeing this scene, many gamers expressed their dissatisfaction. Fuck, I feel that the 3090 I just bought really has to pay the IQ test tax. Why didn't Huawei release Xiangxin 100 earlier? My 3090 just arrived. If nothing else, I just want to know when this Xiangxin 100 will be released. I can't wait. At the press conference, the performance of Xiangxin 100 really shocked many people. But thinking about the terrifying performance of Xiangxin 100, everyone didn't find it strange. This thing is a performance monster. At this time, someone at the scene suddenly shouted, "Mr. Yu, what about the heat dissipation? With such a strong performance, the heat must be very serious." As soon as this came out, many people in the circle reacted suddenly. The stronger the performance, the more terrifying the power consumption. Desktop level CPUs are more powerful than mobile chips, and given the size of a phone, if you really want to install one, you can actually install a desktop level chip. But why not? It's because desktop level chips consume too much power. The phone's small battery and cramped internal space have limited heat dissipation capabilities. Everyone looked at Yu Changhang, waiting for an answer. Yu Changhang seemed to have guessed that someone would ask this question, and said, "Well, actually, we have said almost everything that needs to be said. There is also a question and answer session, so let's move on." Some people will definitely think that the more powerful the performance of this thing is, the more heat it generates. But in fact, all your cognition is based on existing silicon-based chips, and the BO-cell chip is a completely different thing. I said that it has a structure similar to that of a transistor, but in fact, it is not the same as a transistor. Its working mode and internal structure are not what you think. I can't reveal too much about the details, but I can tell you that its heat generation is not as severe as you think. We have measured it. When operating at full power, its heat generation is only about 50 to 60 degrees. With the corresponding heat dissipation design, there is no need to worry about the heat problem. As for power consumption, its power consumption is indeed not small, but thanks to the breakthrough in battery technology, I think this amount of power consumption should not be a problem. After Yu Changhang finished speaking, everyone suddenly reacted. That's right, with the emergence of lithium batteries, it is estimated that starting from next year, the capacity of mobile phone batteries will instantly exceed 100,000 mAh. By then, no matter how high the power consumption of a chip is, it will be able to handle it. Chapter 61 Pressing on the ground and rubbing. With super performance, controllable power consumption, and the lithium battery, Xiangxin 100 is simply invincible. Looking around the world, there is no one who can beat it. At the press conference, Yu Changhang said, "I think you must have a lot of questions in your mind. So next, I will focus on answering some of the questions that everyone is more concerned about. Immediately, a reporter raised his hand to ask a question. Yu Changhang randomly pointed to one person. "Excuse me, Mr. Yu, who is the person you mentioned before? Is Xiangxin 100 developed by this person?" Everyone stared at Yu Changhang intently. Xiangxin 100 is so powerful that it is simply a black technology. Although everyone believes in Huawei's research and development capabilities, Xiangxin 100 still doesn't look like it was developed by Huawei. It's mainly because it suddenly appeared without any signs. Even if it is kept secret, there will always be some information circulating, such as news that Huawei is secretly developing a mysterious chip. But there is nothing, so it's not surprising to say that Xiangxin 100 came out of nowhere. At the beginning, Yu Changhang suddenly wanted to thank someone, and this person was extremely mysterious. He didn't say his name, and he didn't even say whether he was a man or a woman. It was hard not to suspect that this mysterious person was the developer of Xiangxin 100. Yu Changhang smiled and said, "No comment." Next question. Another reporter stood up and wanted to ask about the mysterious person, but after thinking about it, he gave up and asked, "Mr. Yu said before that Xiangxin 100 will soon enter mass production and will be installed on Mate 40 Pro. Does that mean you have solved the problem of mass production of chips? How did you solve it? Where did you buy the lithography machine?" Everyone knows that Huawei has always been a chip design company. When it comes to chip production, it still depends on foundries such as TSMC. If Huawei really had the ability to produce on its own, it would not have been sanctioned by the United States, and it would not have been so uncomfortable. Yu Changhang said, "First of all, I want to explain a fact, which is that I have made it very clear that Xiangxin 100 is not a traditional chip. It is a newly designed chip, from raw materials to production methods to architecture. Everything is brand new. Therefore, we don't need to buy lithography machines, because we don't need them. As for the mass production problem you asked, yes, we have solved it. It will be put into production as early as January next year." Yu Changhang's words caused exclamations at the scene, and on the live broadcast platform, there was even more cheering. "Fuck, Huawei is awesome. They've already started mass production. And it doesn't require a lithography machine. Is this the legendary situation where, if you don't take me with you, I'll just start over and do it myself? They always say we can't produce lithography machines, and how difficult they are. Now we don't need them. I wonder what ASML will think when they see this news. It will be put into production as early as next year, so doesn't that mean we can buy a mobile phone equipped with Xiangxin 100 in January? I just don't know how much it will cost. Such an awesome chip must be very expensive." At the press conference, the next reporter also asked about the price of Xiangxin 100. Yu Changhang said, "The price of Xiangxin 100 has not been decided yet, but I can guarantee here that the shipping price of our Xiangxin 100 will never exceed A14 and Qualcomm's flagship chip every year. That is, around 700 yuan. The cost price of an A14 has long been exposed, which is about $100, which is about 700 yuan when converted into RMB. The performance of Xiangxin 100 is 100 times that of A14, but it is sold at the same price." For a moment, everyone seemed to smell the strong smell of gunpowder. Huawei is beating Apple to death. Not to mention the live broadcast platform Huawei's awesomeness is all over the screen. Wanghu Village. Zhou Yang signaled Chen Ruoyan to turn off the TV. Chen Ruoyan said, "Mr. Zhou, the press conference is not over yet. Don't you want to watch it?" Zhou Yang shook his head and said, "There's nothing to see." Zhou Yang doesn't care about the price at all. The pricing of Xiangxin 100 is not something Huawei can decide, but it must be in line with the country's strategy, which is to spread around the world and fight a technological war with foreign high-precision chips. Therefore, even if it is sold at a loss, the country will promote Xiangxin 100 on a large scale. Fortunately, Zhou Yang knows that the cost price of Xiangxin 100 is only about 400 yuan, and there is still plenty of profit space. However, Yu Changhang mentioned the mysterious man, and Zhou Yang had some doubts in his heart. Was it the country's instruction? Yu Changhang absolutely dared not reveal his identity and existence. Huawei's press conference was over. But the aftermath was not over, like a wave sweeping across the country and even the world. Xiangxin 100 also instantly rushed to the top of the hot list. All major media and forums were discussing Xiangxin 100 crazily. The performance was 100 times stronger than A14, which was simply crazy. That night, the 7 o'clock news took a full 5 minutes to introduce the scientific research results of Xiangxin 100 in detail. Once again, the officials stood up to prove the authenticity of Xiangxin 100. At this moment, the people were boiling. First, it was the Lungsam battery, and now it was Xiangxin 100. Everyone really felt that the country had become stronger. And the report of Xiangxin 100 also crossed the ocean and reached the other side of the ocean. Country, Apple headquarters. Apple executives gathered together to watch the recording of Huawei's press conference. There are subtitles below, and everyone can understand it. Biological cell chip. What the hell is this? A senior executive screamed. It's 100 times more powerful than ours. Is that true? They are talking nonsense. But the following running score session made everyone silent. Running scores, it seems, are hard to fake. Ananta scored over 60 million points. Geekbench scored 470,000 points. This number is simply despairing. An executive said, I have asked Geekbench company. They checked the background data. This running score should be true. This sentence made the scene dead silent. No one spoke anymore, just watched quietly. When they saw Yu Changhang take out a notebook to test the video rendering function and game performance, everyone's expression became more solemn. Because they found another key point. GPU. Huawei not only solved the CPU, but also the GPU. How is this possible? Someone exclaimed. In theory, GPU and CPU are actually the same thing. Both are chips, but they focus on different computing directions. A technical director frowned and said, we all know that it is not difficult to develop GPUs. The difficult part is to bypass the existing patent wall and develop a GPU suitable for current software. Nvidia and AMD have built a patent wall for their own interests. It is not easy for any company to break through this patent wall. I guess that this Xiangxin 100 may really use a completely different architecture, as Yu Changhang said, so they are not subject to any restrictions in terms of patents. In this way, it is not difficult to design a GPU with the same performance after designing Xiangxin 100. The explanation of the technical director did not make everyone present feel better. The amazing video rendering ability of Xiangxin 100 made them feel heavy. Apple's host is also a large part of its business, and their hosts have super office performance, especially the workbench level hosts, which are the best choice for video rendering. The appearance of Xiangxin 100 directly pressed their hosts to the ground. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62, Big Trouble. Next, Yu Changhang confirmed in the question answering session that they have solved the mass production problem and will be able to go into production as early as January next year. Fuck. An executive cursed. Even the lithography machine is not needed. How can the United States sanction V? It can't sanction, even if it wants to. After that, Yu Changhang announced that the X-Factory price of their Core 100 would never be higher than A14, and the executives present became even more uneasy. They are going to go to war with us. An executive shouted. The performance is better than A14, and the price is lower. This is simply making trouble. Cook coughed lightly and suppressed all the voices. Looking around at everyone present, Cook's expression was extremely solemn and said, guys, we are in big trouble. Yes, big trouble for fruit. It is conceivable how much impact the emergence of Core 100 will have on fruit. Cook continued, V is a very powerful company. I heard that they also plan to develop an operating system. Although we have a complete mobile phone ecosystem, their challenge cannot be ignored. Everyone nodded. V was going to fight them to the death, and it was a real threat to them. Then what should we do? Asked an executive. No one answered. It was still Cook who said, V's ambition is too big. He not only wants to challenge us, but also wants to challenge Ainga and Yingda. So I think we can unite and put pressure on them. V revealed a lot of information at the press conference. Not only did he want to install the Core 100 on the mobile platform, but he also planned to extend it to the desktop platform, and even got the GPU. This is to kill Yingda and AMD. If V really succeeds, whether it is Fruit, Aina, or Yingda, they will not let V go. In other words, V has provoked 3 of the most powerful internet companies at once. Yes, that's what we should do. Let them finish. Many executives nodded in agreement. Cook said, okay, I'll go to Aina tomorrow. CIA. Lungsan Battery Intelligence Team. Jack has been transferred to the intelligence team and is responsible for intelligence gathering. Team leader, I want to ask you to look at something. Jack found team leader Robertson. Robertson was in a bad mood. Not long ago, their team determined that Zhou Yang was the developer of the Lungsan battery. After reporting to his superiors, Robertson proposed an assassination plan to directly assassinate Zhou Yang. After considering it, his superiors agreed. Robertson was not responsible for how the plan was arranged, and he didn't know it, only that it failed. In retaliation, the intelligence department of Another Earth destroyed many of their bases and killed a group of lurking intelligence personnel, causing heavy losses to the CIA. Robertson was also criticized for this. What is that? Robertson asked absent-mindedly. Jack started playing a video, which was the video of V's press conference. What is this? Robertson looked at it for a while and said impatiently, just get to the point. Jack quickly fast-forwarded the video and said, the point is here. The mysterious man that Yu Changhang mentioned was separated from HiSilicon and acquired by Matrix Energy. You should know about Matrix Energy. Not long after Matrix Energy acquired HiSilicon, HiSilicon suddenly developed this Core 100 chip. So I think this mysterious man may be the developer of Core 100. At the same time, he is also the developer of Lungsan battery, that is, Zhou Yang. Matrix Energy alone is enough to attract Robertson's attention. After analysis, the intelligence team can basically determine that Matrix Energy is a representative of Another Earth government. And now, Matrix Energy has made another move, still in the chip field, and immediately produced results. Yu Changhang thanked another mysterious man. It is not difficult to suspect that Zhou Yang, who has a close connection with Matrix Energy, is the developer of Xiangxin 100. Is this Core 100 very powerful? Robertson asked. Jack nodded vigorously and said, it's more than amazing. It's simply alien technology, just like the Lungsan battery, so I have reason to suspect that it was Zhou Yang who developed the Xiangxin 100. Based on the information I have collected, Warwick should not have the research and development capabilities. In Jack's opinion, if V had the ability to develop the Core 100, it would not have been humiliated by the sanctions of the United States. Robertson took a breath and exclaimed, this Zhou Yang, isn't he developing batteries? How come he is developing chips again? Jack shrugged and said, who knows, but I have said long ago that this guy is a genius, a real genius. Alas, I shouldn't have let him go before. Okay. Robertson waved his hand and said, don't mention the past anymore. Come with me to see the director. Half an hour later, Robertson reported their speculation to Ferguson, the current director of the CIA. Robertson finally said, Director, Zhou Yang is getting more and more powerful. Now he has even developed a chip. Such a person cannot be left alive. He must be killed. Ferguson looked serious and raised his hand to signal Robertson to go out first. He said, I know what you said. I'm going to the White House now. I will make a decision after I come back. A few hours later, Ferguson came back. Director, how is it? Should we take action? Robertson asked. Ferguson nodded and said, yes, we should take action, but not to assassinate the other party, but to find a way to bring the other party to the United States. Such a genius should serve our United States. Bring him to the United States? Robertson widened his eyes and almost thought he was hallucinating. Director, is this possible? Ferguson said, nothing is impossible. In short, let's find a way to bring the person here first. You are responsible for intelligence collection and know Zhou Yang's situation best, so you are responsible for the intelligence work, and Adrian is responsible for the specific actions. Who? That madman? Robertson exclaimed. Adrian is a well-known madman in the CIA headquarters. It's not that he is crazy, but that he acts crazy enough. In order to achieve his goals, he often does some crazy things. For example, before, in a small country in the Middle East, in order to eliminate a target, he even designed a rebellion and let the target be killed by the rebels. But this rebellion killed many civilians and had serious consequences. So others call him a madman. The impact of Core 100 is still fermenting, and in Wanghu village, the research work on high-strength crystal steel is progressing steadily. Zhou Yang estimated that the third stage should be completed in a month at most. On this day, Li Xianshu suddenly came to the door. "Mr. Zhao, can I ask you a question?" Li Xianshu looked a little serious. "Oh, what's the problem?" Li Xianshu said, "I know that the research and development of high-strength crystalline steel is going smoothly. Judging from the test results, the performance is also excellent. My question is, can this material be used in aero engines to solve the material problem of aero engines?" Aero engines? Zhou Yang was stunned. Is it the aero engines, which are known as the jewel in the crown of industry? Chapter 63, Shooting Yourself in the Foot. Aero engine, the jewel in the crown of industry, is a culmination of human industrial technology. It is so difficult that it is no exaggeration to say that it is harder than climbing to the sky. In the world, there are more than 200 countries, and only 4.5 countries, M, E, F, Y, and our country can produce it. However, our country, due to insufficient technology, can only be considered half at most. Its difficulties are mainly concentrated in two major directions. One is design, and the other is specific production. Designing an excellent engine is not a simple matter. In fact, our country is still at a very high level in this regard. As always, when it comes to brains, our country has never been worse than anyone else. The key is the specific production. Its process is too complicated, and the materials, high temperature resistance, ultra high strength, corrosion resistance, and lightweight, are not materials that can be produced by ordinary countries. Zhou Yang looked at Li Xianshu and asked curiously, "What's wrong?" Li Xianshu sighed and said, "This is what happened. Just yesterday, Country E suddenly sent us a message, unilaterally interrupting the negotiations for the introduction of the AL-41 series engine. The AL series of engines is also very famous, especially its AL-31, which was exported to Country Z in large quantities, solving Country Z's urgent needs before Country Z solved its engine problem. Are we still importing AL-41? What about the WS engine we made ourselves?" Zhou Yang asked curiously. Country Z has also been developing engines and working hard to achieve localization. Li Xianshu said, "We are not able to mass produce yet, so the higher-ups are planning to introduce AL-41 to solve the J-20 engine problem. This matter has been discussed a long time ago, and it has basically been negotiated, but at this juncture, Country E suddenly changed its mind and gave up the negotiation, and it was very resolute. It is probably related to the Lungsam battery." Zhou Yang was stunned and said, "Why is it related to the Lungsam battery?" Li Xianshu smiled bitterly and said, "Mr. Zhao, think about it. How much oil does Country E export to our country every year? Now that we have solved the battery technology and sent a clear signal to the outside world that we want to vigorously develop electric vehicles, the most direct impact is probably to reduce oil imports. It is not difficult to understand that Country E took this opportunity to give us a warning." "Warning?" Zhou Yang suddenly laughed. What did Country E have that they actually gave Country Z a warning? At this moment, Zhou Yang already understood why Li Xianshu asked him whether high-strength crystalline steel could be used in aero engines. "Since you asked, I will tell you clearly that the third generation high-strength crystal steel can be used in aero engines. As for when the third generation will be completed, it will take at most 1 month." Li Xianshu's eyes lit up, and he said hurriedly, "Mr. Zhao, are you sure? The AL-41 cannot be introduced, and the WS developed by itself has not been able to roll off the production line. The J-20 has been equipped, but the engine is still a difficult problem. The country is also anxious, so it suddenly came up with an idea and ran to ask Zhou Yang to use the high-strength crystal steel developed by Zhou Yang in aero engines." Zhou Yang nodded and said, "How about this? You get me an aero engine R&D team. It's better to understand the design of WS, and then cooperate with us to see if we can solve the specific problem." After the material problem, there are two main problems in Zhou Yang's next plan. One is the control system problem, and the other is the thruster problem. The mecha has a thruster, and can fly short distances. Of course, this thruster is definitely not an existing fuel engine, but a particle thruster similar to the Hall thruster. So it's not impossible to do some engine research at the same time. Okay, I'll arrange it right away, Li Xianshu said hurriedly. In fact, the country asked Li Xianshu to come to Zhou Yang, not only to ask about the problem of high-strength crystallized steel, but also to see if Zhou Yang could help solve the problem of their own genes. Zhou Yang's research and development capabilities are beyond doubt, and every research result is black technology. BJ.E. Consulate. Dimilov has been waiting for several days. Didn't they contact us again? Dimilov asked his assistant. The assistant shook his head. This was the 100th time Dimilov asked. A few days ago, Dimilov, as a special envoy of the Kremlin, conveyed the Kremlin's decision to unilaterally stop the export of AL-41 engines to Z country. In the first 2 days, Z country had been contacting Dimilov to discuss the possibility of restarting negotiations. At that time, Dimilov was in a very good mood, put on a stinky face, and really said a lot of sour words, and ridiculed the negotiators of Z country. The Kremlin also wanted to give country Z a warning. Exports must be made. Country E is short of money, while country Z is rich. This time, it was just a warning to country Z it would be better to raise the price and ask for more conditions, such as more oil trading shares. But what Dimilov didn't expect was that country Z suddenly stopped contacting him 2 days ago. For 2 days in a row, Dimilov was anxious. After thinking about it, Dimilov said, "Go, arrange a car for me. I want to visit General Gao." The assistant nodded and hurried to arrange it. An hour later, Dimilov arrived at the General Assembly Department. After notifying, he wanted to visit Gao Jianjun. Gao Jianjun was in charge of military procurement. If Gao Jianjun was dealt with, the export of AL-41 would be a success. Unexpectedly, Gao Jianjun was not available. "You are not available to see me. Are you sure?" Dimilov widened his eyes with an expression of disbelief. The assistant nodded and said, "That's what his secretary said." Dimilov stood up immediately. This was an insult. He had come to visit in person, but Gao Jianjun didn't even see him. How could this not be an insult? "Let's go. They will regret it." Dimilov was ready to leave, but after 2 steps, Dimilov stopped. He was angry, but if this matter failed, he would definitely be punished when he returned. "When you go to find them again, just say I'm waiting for them here." Dimilov gritted his teeth. And this wait lasted for 3 hours. Dimilov was absolutely certain that Gao Jianjun was deliberately leaving him alone to retaliate against him. Humph, it's just a negotiation strategy. I'm not angry. Anyway, we took the initiative in this negotiation. No matter how rude you are to me now, I will ask for it back 10-fold or 100-fold at the negotiation table. You will regret it. Dimilov was so angry that his teeth itched, and he forced himself to suppress his anger. At this time, Gao Jianjun's secretary finally came to inform Dimilov that Gao Jianjun could meet them. Gao Jianjun's office. Dimilov strode in, his face livid. But Gao Jianjun was also surprisingly indifferent, as if he was dealing with official documents. He said without raising his head, "Mr. Dimilov, I have a meeting soon. You only have 5 minutes. Tell me, what's the matter?" 5 minutes? Dimilov felt that he was greatly humiliated, but he still forced himself to endure it and said, "General Gao, it is not impossible to restart the negotiations for the AL-41 engine, as long as you agree to a few more of our requests." Gao Jianjun suddenly interrupted Dimilov and said, "Mr. Dimilov, didn't my secretary inform you that we have decided not to purchase the AL-41 engine?" "What?" Dimilov sat up in shock. Suddenly, Dimilov felt like he had shot himself in the foot. This matter seemed to have been messed up by country E. Chapter 64. We don't need it anymore. "General Gao, are you kidding?" Dimilov exclaimed. Gao Jianjun looked up and glanced at Dimilov, saying, "Mr. Dimilov, I have to work more than 12 hours a day. Do you think I have time to joke with you? But AL-41, don't you want it anymore?" Dimilov asked hurriedly. If the negotiation fails, he will be the one to take the blame. So Demilov was also anxious and wanted to say that, as long as you nod, the deal will be done. Zhou Yang shook his head slightly and said, I have already said this question just now. We don't need it anymore. If Demilov has nothing else to do, then I will go to the meeting first. After Zhou Yang walked out of the office, Demilov sat down on the sofa, his face pale. After walking out of the office, the assistant came up quickly and asked, how did the negotiation go, sir? They said they don't want it anymore. Demilov seemed to have lost his soul. The assistant was also stunned and said, don't want it anymore. Why? Demilov shook his head. He also wanted to know this question. The assistant hurriedly said, could it be that other sellers have gone bankrupt? That's impossible. Who else in the world would sell engines to them except us? In order to restrict the development of country Z, the major powers in the world have spared no effort. Selling engines is just wishful thinking. After leaving the door, the cold wind blew, and Demilov sobered up a little. He slapped his face twice and said, something is wrong. It's too wrong. At the beginning, we proposed to end the negotiations. Even if they didn't know that we had other ideas, they should understand that this was just a means of negotiation. From the overall situation, they need AL-41, and only we can sell them engines of this level, but they suddenly don't want it, and it doesn't look like a negotiation method. The reason is either, as you said, a new seller has gone out, or they really don't need it. Something must have happened that we don't know about. Go quickly and use all your connections to help me find out why. The assistant ran away nervously. This transaction is not just about the billions of dollars in transaction volume of this batch of engines. The most important thing is that, in order to achieve this transaction, Country Z has paid sincerity in tens of billions of dollars in oil transaction shares. That's the big deal. If the transaction really falls through, it will be an immeasurable loss. Wanghu Village. Li Xianshu immediately arranged a group of experts to come. There were 8 people in total. The person in charge was Li Bingsun, an engineer of Liming Engine Group and an expert in aero engines. He was originally an engineer of Zion Aircraft Industry Group and was responsible for the preliminary research and startup projects of WS. Later, he was poached by Liming and came to Liming. He also organized a group of people to engage in engine research and development. However, in the final procurement demonstration, the code-named TS engine that Li Bingsun led people to study was defeated by WS. This blow was not small for Li Bingsun and made him a little paranoid. Now when he heard from his superiors that someone could help them solve the material problem of aero engines, his first feeling was disbelief and that he was fooled. If the material problem had been solved, he would have been transferred to Zion Aircraft Industry Group long ago, and it would be his turn to sit on the bench. Chief Engineer Li, it seems that we are almost there. Li Bingsun's deputy Kang Ning said on the bus. Li Bingsun pushed his glasses and looked out of the car. A small hill appeared in his field of vision. When the car stopped, Li Bingsun suddenly came to his senses and said in surprise, this research institute is not in the mountain. Li Ziyu was still the one who received him. He nodded and said, yes, our research institute is in the mountain. Chief Engineer Li, Mr. Zhao is waiting for you. Let's go in. Passing through the heavy alloy door and the soldiers standing guard with guns beside it, Li Bingsun realized that this was not an ordinary research institute. At least the confidentiality level can be said to be the top in the country, and the cost is too exaggerated. A mountain was directly hollowed out. Ordinary research institutes don't have this treatment. But Li Bingsun has never heard of this research institute. When he came here, he was full of resentment in his heart, but now it's all gone. It's like a civilian who ran to the presidential palace. He instinctively felt stage fright and wanted to throw a tantrum, but he didn't dare. Even Li Bingsun subconsciously felt that the owner of this research institute was not an ordinary person. This research institute is so big. The whole mountain was hollowed out. It's too exaggerated. Kang Ning and others exclaimed. Li Bingsun hurriedly said, don't talk. They came to a spacious laboratory. Hello, Chief Engineer Li, my name is Zhou Yang, and I'm the person in charge of this research institute. Zhou Yang was waiting, and when he saw Li Bingsun and others, he smiled and greeted them. Li Bingsun hurriedly stepped forward to shake hands with Zhou Yang. His momentum was suppressed, and he didn't dare to show his resentment in his heart. Zhou Yang greeted the remaining few people, and then took Li Bingxuan to the experimental table. On the experimental table, there was a square piece of metal that looked like an alloy. Chief Engineer Li, the material in front of you is the latest research result of our research institute, high-strength crystal steel. What you see is only the second generation product. The third generation product, that is, the final product, should be developed in a month at most. By the way, this is a test data of the second generation product. You can take a look. Zhou Yang handed over a piece of material. Li Bingxuan took it subconsciously and flipped through it. After just a few glances, his eyes widened, his hands trembling a little, and he said, "Impossible, the data must be fake. This strength, this heat resistance, how is this possible? When did the country have such material?" The data on the material in front of him was several times stronger than the best foreign materials Li Bingxuan knew. Zhou Yang smiled and said, "Whether it is fake or not, the things are here. Chief Engineer Li can test it himself." After a pause, Zhou Yang continued, "I have been quite busy with my work recently. The materials have been provided, and the specific engine design is still under the responsibility of Chief Engineer Li. Of course, the main focus is still on improving WS. The relevant information has also been sent over by Zion Aircraft Industry Corporation. We have all kinds of large-scale experimental instruments here. If you need anything, you can find her." Zhou Yang pointed at Li Xiao and said, "No matter what you need, you can ask him to arrange it. By the way, don't worry about the money. The funds are unlimited." "Okay, I'm still busy, so I won't stay any longer. Forget about the welcoming party. We are all scientific researchers, so let's not do this kind of hypocritical courtesy. Finally, I wish Chief Engineer Li to solve the production process problem of WS in advance." Zhou Yang greeted everyone and turned to leave. Chapter 65 Visiting Bat. Such a welcome ceremony can be described as simple and unique. This made Kang Ning and others a little dissatisfied. Zhou Yang didn't take them seriously enough. Although this research institute is very powerful, Kang Ning believes that they are not ordinary people. Being looked down upon like this makes him very unhappy. "Chief Engineer Li, Mr. Zhao doesn't take us seriously enough." Kang Ning lowered his voice. Li Bingxuan seemed not to hear it. He stuffed the materials in his hand into Kang Ning's hands and said, "You take a look first." Then he asked Li Xiao, "Secretary Li, is this high-strength crystallized steel really developed by your research institute? Who is it?" "Mr. Zhao just now." Li Bingxuan racked his brains, but couldn't think of any domestic material expert named Zhou Yang. Li Xiao nodded and shook his head, saying, "I don't really understand research matters. This high-strength crystallized steel was proposed by our Mr. Zhao, who led people to research it. But now Mr. Zhao doesn't care much about this project. Now the research and development of the third generation product is mainly in the charge of academician Zhu Chen." "Who?" Li Bingxuan's eyes widened suddenly. He knew Zhu Chen, a real big shot in the domestic smelting metal industry. "Secretary Li, are you saying that academician Zhu is also here?" Li Xiao nodded and said, "It's in the next laboratory. Do you want to go over and meet him?" "Can I?" Li Bingxuan became nervous. "The other party is an academician." Li Xiao smiled and said, "What's wrong with that? Academician Zhu is a very nice person. I think he should be very happy to see you." At that moment, Li Xiao led everyone to the next laboratory. In an open laboratory, Zhu Chen was leading a team to do experiments. When Li Bingxuan arrived, warm applause broke out in the laboratory. "Success, teacher, we succeeded." Someone cheered. Then an old voice said, okay, we have broken through another difficulty. But to be honest, this difficulty cannot be broken without the guidance of Mr. Zhao." Li Bingxuan hurried into the laboratory and saw Zhu Chen at a glance. Li Xiao also stepped forward to introduce Li Bingxuan to Zhu Chen and others. "It turns out to be you. I remember we met at a meeting of the Ministry of Industry," Zhu Chen said to Li Bingxuan. Li Bingxuan said excitedly, "I didn't expect that academician Zhu still remembered me. I'm so honored." Zhu Chen said, "You are also very good. I heard that you are doing very well in Zion Aircraft Industry. You have made great efforts to launch the WS project." When talking about the WS project, Zhu Chen couldn't help but feel a little depressed. "Don't mention it. It's also my fault. I was too ambitious and jumped to liming, thinking that I had to make a more powerful engine to compete with Zion aircraft industry, but reality gave me a hard blow. Lee Bing-sun sighed. He left Zion aircraft industry with the intention of proving himself. In the end, not only did he fail to prove himself, but his life fell into a trough. Zhu Chen knew what happened when he saw Lee Bing-sun's reaction. He patted him on the shoulder and said, "Life is like this, with ups and downs. By the way, you are here now. Maybe this is the new starting point of your life." Lee Bing-sun nodded vigorously. After seeing Zhu Chen, he completely believed the experimental data of high-strength crystallized steel. With such materials, there is no worry about not being able to make better aircraft engines. Mr. Zhu, I will inevitably ask you for advice in the future. Please don't find me annoying. Lee Bing-sun said. Zhu Chen smiled and said, how could it be? To be honest, you might as well ask Mr. Zhao for advice instead of asking me. If Mr. Zhao is willing to give you some pointers, you will be great. Mr. Zhao. Lee Bing-sun was stunned, and then he suddenly realized. The entire research institute belongs to Zhou Yang, and Zhu Chen is Zhou Yang's assistant. Li Ziyu also said that high-strength crystallized steel was developed by Zhou Yang, and now it is only when the project is mature that it is handed over to Zhu Chen. The real core is still Zhou Yang. Zhou Yang is so powerful that he can recruit a great man like Zhu Chen, and Zhu Chen is willing to do it. I understand. Lee Bing-sun nodded vigorously. He was full of resentment when he came here, but now it has long disappeared. Zhou Yang's office. Li Ziyu knocked on the door. It was Chen Royan who opened the door. She nodded to Li Ziyu and stood quietly in the corner. In the corner, there was a chair, a coffee table, a bottle of Sprite, and a romance novel. Chen Royan could sit there for a whole day. On the desk opposite, Zhou Yang was still busy in front of the computer. Mr. Zhao, Chief Engineer Li and the others have already made arrangements. Li Ziyu said. Zhou Yang nodded. Li Ziyu knew that Zhou Yang was busy and was about to leave, but Zhou Yang suddenly stopped him. Please arrange it. Go visit Bat in these 2 days. Li Ziyu was stunned and asked subconsciously, but, which one? But, of course, is Beidou, Tencent and Alibaba. Zhou Yang said, all of them, you can arrange them first. Zhou Yang has almost finished preparing for the intelligent core. The basic R&D outline should be completed today. The rest of the work will be handed over to a dedicated person. The only qualified private enterprises in China are BAT. Li Ziyu did not dare to ask more, nodded, and said, then what identity will you go with? Zhou Yang thought for a while and said, let's go with the identity of matrix energy. In layman's terms, the intelligent core is artificial intelligence. Like Jarvis in Iron Man, it has a certain degree of wisdom and can help mecha pilots solve many problems. Because the mecha has too many systems and it is extremely troublesome to operate, it is most appropriate to give these control commands to artificial intelligence. At that time, the driver only needs to issue commands and perform simple operations. It is best to make the operation as simple as playing a game. Okay, I'll arrange it now. Li Ziyu left. Chen Royan also left. Zhou Yang was going to travel, and security work was essential. The next day, SZ Tencent headquarters. A middle-aged man came to the door, showed his ID, and said, my name is Ko Yuxing. This is my ID. I want to see the person in charge of your company now. The receptionist at the front desk was shocked when he saw the ID with a steel stamp. A few months ago, someone came to the door with the same ID. Okay, please wait. The receptionist did not dare to neglect it and immediately started to call his superiors. Soon, the group president Lin Haoning came downstairs with a few followers to greet him. Captain Ko is here. What's the matter? Lin Haoning looked a little nervous. Ko Yuxing was not an ordinary person. He was Guon. Last time, it was the Guon people who came to the door and ran to their data center without saying anything to delete some data. This kind of person is not something that ordinary people can mess with. By the way, our general manager Ma will be back soon. Lin Haoning added. Chapter 66. Treat well. Ko Yuxing stood up and shook hands with Lin Haoning indifferently. Since Mr. Ma is coming back soon, let's wait a while. 10 minutes later, Ko Yuxing met Ma Huating, the former richest man in the country and a real business tycoon. Hello, Captain KO. Ma Huateng was still very polite when he saw Ko Yuxing. What Ko Yuxing represents is something that even Ma Huateng dare not treat lightly. Because if you violate national security, no matter who you are, how much power you have, or how much wealth you have, you will be killed without mercy. What is the red line? This is the red line. Hello, Mr. Ma. Ko Yuxing nodded and said, it's like this. I came here this time to tell Mr. Ma that tomorrow a guest will come to visit your company. I came here to do a preliminary security investigation to ensure that there are no safety hazards. In the afternoon, the security personnel in our bureau will move in and take over the security of your company. After Ko Yuxing finished speaking, the security manager who came with him couldn't help but exclaimed, full takeover? This behavior is too overbearing. Ma Huateng glared at him and said hurriedly, okay, we will fully cooperate. By the way, who is the guest? Why didn't anyone notify us? Needless to say, this security treatment must be a big shot. Ko Yuxing smiled and said, I'm just here to notify him. As for who it is, it's from Matrix Energy. I can't say anything else. Matrix Energy. Ma Huateng was shocked. Ko Yuxing called the security director to check the security of the building. Lin Haoning hurriedly said, Mr. Ma, isn't this Matrix Energy the company that swallowed up high silicon? Not only high silicon, but also ByteD's battery business. During this period, Matrix Energy has been a household name in the business world. I heard that the national team is behind this Matrix Energy, and I don't know if it's true or not. Is there any need to ask? It's 100% true. If it's not the national team, who do you think can make ByteD split its battery business and who are we hand over its high silicon Kirin? Then what is Matrix Energy doing in our Tencent? Several people discussed it. Ma Huateng was also full of doubts. After thinking for a while, he took out his cell phone and dialed a number. Mr. Yu, it's me. Ma Huateng called Yu Changhang. It's like this. Someone from Matrix Energy suddenly came and said they wanted to visit our Tencent. What do you think about this? Ma Huateng asked. Yu Changhang was stunned for a moment on the other end of the phone and then said, Mr. Ma, there are some things I can't say clearly. I can only give you 4 words. Oh, which 4 words? Ma Huateng was shocked. Yu Changhang said, give him a good reception. After that, he hung up the phone directly. Ma Huateng was stunned for a moment, as if he had realized something. Mr. Ma, what did Yu Changhang say? Lin Haoning asked hurriedly. Ma Huateng came back to his senses and said quickly, go, call the company's senior management to hold a meeting and discuss how to do a good job of welcoming them tomorrow. By the way, the other party is here to visit. You notify everyone below. Let them cheer up. Don't let me down at the critical moment and embarrass us Tencent. Understand? Give them a good reception. That's a good thing. Ma Huateng's eyes flashed with a gleam. ByteD's battery business was acquired by Matrix Energy. ByteD released the Lungsam battery. Huawei's high silicon Kirin was acquired by Matrix Energy and then released Xiangxin 100. Anyone can see the problem here. Now that Matrix Energy has come, Ma Huateng knows that this is a good thing. That's why Yu Changhang asked him to receive them well and not neglect them. That afternoon, many employees at Tencent headquarters noticed that there were many strangers at the company headquarters, and later a large number of special police came. In addition, the company notified that someone was coming to visit, and everyone understood that this was a big shot coming to visit. Ma Huateng originally wanted to organize a welcoming ceremony and even went to the airport to pick him up. However, for security reasons, no notice was given as to when or how the other party would come. At 1 PM the next day, a car drove into the underground garage of the Tencent building in a low-key manner. The entire garage had been cleared, and all employees and executives had received advance notice that they were not allowed to drive today. Even if they wanted to drive, they could not park in the underground garage. The huge underground garage was guarded every 3 steps and every 5 steps, and all of them were security personnel. Ma Huateng and others, who had just received the notice 10 minutes ago, also hurried downstairs and waited in the underground garage. The car door opened. Chen Ruoyan got out first and then opened the door for Zhou Yang. Tencent and other senior executives also stretched their necks to see who the person was, but when they saw that the person was a young man, they were all shocked. Zhou Yang was really too young, at most he was about 27 or 28 years old. But it was such a young man who made such a big fuss when he went out, and everyone couldn't imagine Zhou Yang's identity. "Hello, my name is Zhou Yang. Sorry to have kept you waiting." Zhou Yang walked up and extended his hand to Ma Huateng. Although Ma Huateng was one of the richest men in the country, Zhou Yang was not afraid at all. He felt like he was facing an ordinary person. At Zhou Yang's level, money and power were no longer something he cared about. No matter how much money he had, it was just a string of numbers. "Hello, Mr. Zhou." Ma Huateng was startled and quickly came to his senses and shook hands with Zhou Yang. Although he didn't know what Zhou Yang did, the gesture was enough to explain everything. Ma Huateng led the way and took Zhou Yang upstairs, then asked, "Mr. Zhou, welcome to Tencent. I have prepared a small welcome ceremony upstairs. I hope you can come. Let's talk about that after the tour." Zhou Yang waved his hand and directly rejected Ma Huateng, then asked, "How many researchers do you have in Tencent now?" Ma Huateng obviously knew his company very well and said without thinking, "We have more than 70,000 R&D personnel worldwide, and there are about 40,000 in China, scattered in our R&D centers across the country. As for the core R&D personnel, there are about 8,000 people. These people are our elite core." Zhou Yang nodded secretly. 8,000 core R&D personnel. This scale is not small. Let's not talk about anything else. Just say that these 8,000 people generally have an annual salary of more than 500,000, and the salary alone will be several billion a year. Then do you have artificial intelligence? Zhou Yang asked again. Ma Huateng's eyes lit up, and a thought immediately popped up in his mind. Could it be that the project that Matrix Energy wants to cooperate with them is artificial intelligence? This thing is the hottest project now. Yes, we have a team of about 500 people responsible for the research and development of artificial intelligence. Ma Huateng said hurriedly. Although Tencent is a game company, it does not prevent them from developing artificial intelligence. In this way, they can intelligently push advertisements to you, or intelligently analyze your crypto and gold hobbies to better serve you. Chapter 67. A question. Can you take me to see it? Zhou Yang asked. Of course. Ma Huateng hurriedly led the way, secretly excited in his heart. The direction of cooperation is most likely artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is the future direction of technological development. Tencent has also made early arrangements and organized a team of hundreds of people to carry out development and research. This is Wu Yinming, the head of our artificial intelligence division. Ma Huateng pointed to a middle-aged it man and introduced him. Zhou Yang took a look at Wu Yinming. Apart from the fact that his hair volume was a little worrying, there was nothing special about him. He asked, "Can you tell me about your research and development projects?" Wu Yinming glanced at Ma Huateng and saw Ma Huateng nod slightly. Then he took Zhou Yang to a camera position, called up a program, and explained, "Look, Mr. Zhou, this is an artificial intelligence customer service program we developed. After it is running, it can monitor the operation of the game in the background. Once a player contacts the customer service, it will reply as soon as possible, and his reply is almost exactly the same as a real person. We have had this program online for nearly 5 months, and we are constantly updating the database to make it more human. From the beginning, there was a 13% chance that it would be recognized by players. Now, less than 1% of players can recognize that the one talking to them is artificial intelligence." After the introduction, Wu Yinming looked at Zhou Yang with some pride. This was something that their business unit had spent a long time researching, and it was the result of their hard work. Zhou Yang did not comment, but asked, "Anything else?" Wu Yinming was stunned for a moment, caught off guard by Zhou Yang. After thinking for a while, he quickly said, "There are some more. Our self-developed intelligent program can be used in many places. For example, in games, if there are many people logging into a certain server, the program will automatically mobilize the servers of other games for diversion. If there are fewer people, the program will also use the vacant servers." Zhou Yang did not speak, but smiled. Wu Yinming looked a little panicked, especially under the stern gaze of Ma Huateng next to him, and then said, by the way, we have also developed an intelligent game development program. After you enter the general requirements, it will intelligently produce a game. Zhou Yang finally spoke and smiled. You are really a game company. Ma Huateng's heart skipped a beat, and he glared at Wu Yinming fiercely, and quickly said, Mr. Zhou, we started with games, and we may have more involvement in games, but our company's overall R&D strength is still very strong, and it is definitely the best in China. Zhou Yang nodded. He believed this. After all, he had money. After thinking for a while, Zhou Yang said, how about this? I'll give you a problem, give you a week, and you give me a result. As he said that, Zhou Yang stepped forward, opened a blank document on the computer, and wrote down a question. Everyone present came over to check it out. The question was, write a program and let the program draw a picture. Okay, that's it for today, Mr. Ma. I'll leave first. Zhou Yang smiled and stretched out his hand. Ma Huateng was stunned. Are you going to leave now? He didn't even look at anything, but he still shook hands with Zhou Yang and said, okay, Mr. Zhou, don't worry, we will definitely work hard to solve the problem you asked. Zhou Yang nodded and turned to leave. The car drove away. A group of executives stood there with strange expressions. Mr. Ma, who is this Mr. Zhou? Isn't he here to visit? Why did he leave? After taking a few glances, an executive asked. Who knows? He just visited an artificial intelligence department. Does he want to cooperate with us on artificial intelligence projects? It's possible. Ma Huateng nodded slowly and said, he just visited the artificial intelligence department, which means he wants to cooperate with us on artificial intelligence. But I feel that he is not very satisfied with our artificial intelligence department. From beginning to end, Zhou Yang didn't say a single good word. What the hell is this Wu Yinming doing? He is given hundreds of millions every year, but he only produces such a small amount of results. If it doesn't work, remove him. You can't blame Wu Yinming. Artificial intelligence is a bottomless pit. Investing hundreds of millions a year may not even make a splash. Ma Huateng said, let's go back and look at that question. Everyone returned to the artificial intelligence department. Wu Yinming, what do you think of this question? Ma Huateng asked immediately. Wu Yinming was very nervous. The top management sent a message yesterday, saying that a big shot would come to visit today. At that time, Wu Yinming felt that their artificial intelligence department had only been established for 1 or 2 years, and had no outstanding achievements. Even if a big shot came to visit, he would not come to his place. But he didn't expect Zhou Yang to come. Thinking back on the whole visit, Wu Yinming felt that it was terrible. Especially at the end, Ma Huateng's face was extremely ugly. Isn't it just writing a program and drawing a picture? I think it's very simple, a senior executive said. Many executives with technical backgrounds also nodded. In their opinion, this question was not difficult. Just write a program and you can do it in minutes. Wu Yinming shook his head and said, leaders, I think Mr. Zhao's intention of asking this question may not be that simple. It's not just about drawing a picture, but how to draw. Write an artificial intelligence-like program to think about how to draw with human thinking. Ma Huateng thought about it and said, this shouldn't be difficult. Write a program, and tell the program that I want to draw a tree. What's so difficult about that? Wu Yinming was about to cry and said, Mr. Ma, it's not that simple. I think the first question Mr. Zhou wants to test is that the program should think about what I want to draw, not that we give it a proposition. Ma Huateng reacted immediately. Giving a program a proposition and asking it to draw is completely different from telling it to draw a picture and letting it think about what it wants to draw. Just the question of what it wants to draw is not easy to solve. However, Ma Huateng thought that professional matters should be left to professionals, and immediately said, this matter is very important. Mr. Zhou has given me 7 days. During these 7 days, you must lead the team for me. You can draw any R&D personnel in the company and use all resources to solve this problem for me. If you do it well, you will get a reward, and a big reward. Do you understand? Wu Yinming was shocked. He could draw any R&D personnel in the company and mobilize all resources. How much did Ma Huateng value Zhou Yang's test question? Okay, I will work hard. Wu Yinming said quickly. He felt that, if he couldn't do it well, it would be difficult in the future. Chapter 68. Earn money from foreigners. In the car, Zhou Yang sat quietly. Chen Royan asked opposite him, "Are you dissatisfied?" Zhou Yang came to his senses and realized that Chen Royan was talking to him. "It seems that we rarely talk except for necessary exchanges," Zhou Yang said. This should be the first time that Chen Royan talked to him. In the past, they talked about work. Chen Royan's eyes were a little evasive and said, "I see that you seem to be a little dissatisfied." Just asking casually. Zhou Yang smiled and said, "I can't say dissatisfied. Well, I'm not very satisfied." Chen Royan said, "In fact, you can tell the higher-ups and set up a company by yourself." Chen Royan knew that Zhou Yang wanted to find Bat or wanted to cooperate in the same way as Bide and High Silicon before. It's different. Zhou Yang shook his head and said, "This project can cultivate a large number of talents, and I hope that these talents will not hide in the research institute to do research and development, but work hard in the society to do research and development and change the whole society." Just like Chen Royan said, as long as Zhou Yang is willing, he can tell the country and transfer thousands or tens of thousands of researchers to develop artificial intelligence. It is not a piece of cake. But in that case, these people who are transferred will probably return to their original research institutes, university campuses, etc. after the project is completed. At that time, they will still be disconnected from society, and no matter what research they come up with, they will not be able to be transformed into results in the first time. On the contrary, this kind of business cooperation method, driven by interests, can be transformed into results in the first time and directly change society. Okay, you have your own principles, and I can't argue with you. Chen Royan smiled. Zhou Yang was a little absent-minded with this smile. After a long while, Zhou Yang retracted his gaze and said, "In fact, you can smile more." Chen Royan's pretty face blushed slightly and didn't say anything. The next day, Zhou Yang went to Hertz City to visit Alibaba as planned. The person who received him was the vice president of Alibaba. Their boss Ma was away because of something. Compared with Tencent, Zhou Yang saw more. Alibaba's R&D capabilities are still very strong, but they are mainly focused on data processing. In simple terms, it is how to push products to you with all your heart. Zhou Yang did not comment on anything. He left the same question and left Hertz. The day after Zhou Yang left, Jack Ma returned to the Hangzhou headquarters. "I heard that people from Matrix Energy came to visit. What did they see?" Jack Ma asked. The vice president said, "It was just a casual visit. They mainly looked at the research on artificial intelligence. By the way, they left a question before leaving and gave us 7 days to solve it." "Oh, what question? Bring it here for me to see," Jack Ma said. Looking at the question in front of him, Jack Ma fell into deep thought. This Matrix Energy has a great background. It would be best if we can cooperate. It doesn't matter if we can't cooperate. We just need to do our own things well, Jack Ma said. As for this question, you can give it to the people below, organize a project team, and study it carefully for me. No matter what, we should strive for it, just in case we get a good cooperation project. Without mentioning it from Alibaba, Zhou Yang has already arrived in BJ City. Li Xianshu came to the airport to pick him up. "Mr. Zhao, are you going to develop artificial intelligence?" Li Xianshu asked. In the past few days, there were people reporting to him about his schedule. Of course, he knew that Zhou Yang had visited Tencent and Alibaba successively and left a question. Even for this question, Li Xianshu asked relevant experts to verify it as soon as he got it. Zhou Yang did not hide it and said, "Yes, it is artificial intelligence." Li Xianshu was a little confused. Starting from the Lungsum battery, to the chip, and then to high-strength crystal steel, Zhou Yang's research and development span was amazing. The key is that Zhou Yang has actually developed incredible results. Li Xianshu has reason to believe that Zhou Yang can develop great results in artificial intelligence, but he really can't figure out why Zhou Yang is doing this research. Propose a project, give it to a company for cooperation, and then the results haven't come out yet, just like Huawei. Now Xiangxin 100 has not been officially produced, and Zhou Yang has already started other research. It seems that Zhou Yang is eager to study something. Li Xianshu has heard that Zhou Yang works more than 12 hours a day. Although Zhou Yang is still very young, Li Xianshu still wants to find a suitable opportunity to persuade Zhou Yang to relax and enjoy life. With Zhou Yang's current achievements, he can kill 99% of domestic scientists in seconds. Mr. Zhao, it's cold, and it's almost the end of the year. Why don't you go to the south to recuperate for a while? Li Xianshu asked tentatively. Zhou Yang glanced at Li Xianshu. During this period, Zhou Yang ran around non-stop and solved several important problems one after another. The core problems of the mecha have basically been solved. In fact, it's okay to take a break. The system has given 5 years, which is definitely enough with the current progress. Let's see. Zhou Yang didn't say it all at once. Li Xianshu nodded hurriedly, thinking that he could make arrangements. The car slowly arrived at Beidou headquarters. Robin Li and a group of Beidou executives had already been waiting outside the door. Director Li. Robin Li shook hands with Li Xianshu first. Li Xianshu's identity was not ordinary, and not everyone could get in touch with him. Even Robin Li was not very good. This must be Mr. Zhao. Welcome. Robin Li did not forget Zhou Yang, and hurried forward to greet him. Compared with the two Ma, Robin Li is more low-key, and he is a technical background, a standard science and engineering man. Hello, Mr. Li. Zhou Yang shook hands, and followed Robin Li into the Beidou building. Mr. Li, how far has your autonomous driving developed? Zhou Yang asked. Among the 3 bad companies, Beidou is actually the most in-depth in the research of artificial intelligence. They have been working on autonomous driving, which is a very important application of artificial intelligence. Robin Li glanced at Zhou Yang. He only knew that Zhou Yang was from Matrix Energy, but he was not sure about his specific identity. It has been tested on the road now, but it is still the first generation, and it is still far from our goal. Robin Li said. Zhou Yang asked again, how does it compare with Tesla? Globally, Tesla should still be the best in terms of autonomous driving technology. However, during this period of time, Tesla was tortured to death because of the mass launch of Han M. Of course, this is only the domestic market. But Zhou Yang heard from Li Xiao that BYD plans to release Han M abroad, to seize the foreign market and make money from foreigners. Zhou Yang fully supports this. If you want to make money, don't just focus on your own people. If you have the ability, go and make money from foreigners. Zhou Yang's idea is that by then, not only BYD, but even Huawei will go out and make money from foreigners. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69 selected. Zhou Yang's question was very sharp. Robin Li was quite direct and said, it's probably not as good as Tesla. We still have some gaps in terms of algorithms. Zhou Yang was very satisfied with this answer. Although Beidou has a bad reputation and its operations are a mess, their boss is good in terms of technology. Zhou Yang spent 2 hours to visit Beidou's R&D center. In the end, Zhou Yang also left the same question. Among the 3 companies, Zhou Yang actually prefers to cooperate with Beidou. But Zhou Yang decided to wait and see the results before making a decision. In terms of the level of R&D personnel alone, the gap between the 3 companies is not that big. A few days later, Zhou Yang received answers from the 3 companies one after another. Each company provided a picture and an open source program. The picture of the penguin is a realistic painting of a field landscape, with real brush strokes and the texture of an oil painting. At first glance, it looks like a painting by a professional painter. As for the cat, it is a bunch of intertwined color blocks without any clear image, a complete postmodern expressionism. Only the answer handed over by Beidou is very simple, just a circle. And the circle is not round, it looks like a toddler scribbled a stroke. Section Chief Chen, which one do you think is the best? Zhou Yang asked. Chen Royan beside him took a look and said, I think the penguin one is good, it's very real. Zhou Yang smiled and picked up the Beidou one. Zhou Yang hadn't looked at the programs of the 3 companies in detail, but he already had the answer. It's still Beidou. The three companies do have different research and development focuses. In the field of artificial intelligence, Beidou is still the first. Zhu, go and make arrangements. I'll treat the boss of Beidou to dinner, Zhou Yang said. The next morning, a red flag car stopped in front of the headquarters of Beidou. The boss of Beidou went downstairs in advance. The driver got out first and said, "Hello, Mr. L. I'm the driver responsible for picking you up. Here are my IDs." L was stunned and said hurriedly, "You don't need to see the ID." The driver didn't say much, opened the door, and asked L to get in. The car was on the road. Yesterday, L received a notice saying that Zhou Yang invited him to dinner and someone would pick him up at that time, and then today's scene happened. The car drove westward and soon drove out of the city. "Is it so far?" L couldn't help asking. The driver nodded slightly and said, "It will be there in about 15 minutes. L suppressed his doubts. He didn't know if there were any good restaurants outside the city, but the host should follow his own wishes. Besides, he came here today mainly to discuss business. L estimated that Matrix Energy might choose their Beidou for cooperation. In his heart, L was slightly excited. In the past few years, Beidou has been declining, and he is not good at management. Seeing Beidou half dead, he was also very anxious. Matrix Energy is well known, and D, which cooperated with Matrix Energy, and High Silicon Kirin are now making a lot of money. How could L not be jealous? 15 minutes later, the car actually went up the mountain. When it reached the middle of the mountain, the car was stopped by a gunman. After checking the documents and seeing L, he was allowed to pass. L was inexplicably nervous. He felt that the surrounding area was not an ordinary place. There was a guard every 3 steps and a sentry every 5 steps. There were patrolling soldiers everywhere. The car stopped, and someone led L, and after another security check, he entered the inner courtyard. Here, it was an antique building, like a manor. It was antique, and the environment was quiet and elegant. L was led all the way to a garden in the deepest part, and then he saw Zhou Yang. "Mr. Zhou." L felt a little surprised. This place was definitely not a place that ordinary people could live in, even if they were rich and powerful. "Mr. Li is here, sit down." There was a notebook and some information in front of Zhou Yang. "Ziyu, ask the kitchen to prepare it," Zhou Yang ordered. Li Ziyu went there immediately. Zhou Yang then said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Li, I made you run so far. I'm a quiet person, so they arranged such a courtyard for me. The scenery is pretty good. Let's go around after dinner." L hurriedly said, "It's okay, it's not far." Logically speaking, L is also a big shot in the business world, a wealthy man who was once famous on the rich list, but in such an environment, he was inexplicably restrained. In his heart, L was even more curious about Zhou Yang's identity. Zhou Yang turned the notebook to L and said, "Here, this is what I wrote. You can take a look first." L didn't know what Zhou Yang was up to, so he turned to look at the notebook. He was stunned when he saw it. "Is this an artificial intelligence program?" L said in a lost voice. Zhou Yang nodded. L didn't ask any more questions and hurriedly started to read it. He was a technician, so these things seemed to be no problem. But even so, L found that there were many things that he still couldn't fully understand. "Mr. Zhou, the food is ready," Li Ziyu came to report. Zhou Yang put down the teacup, patted Li Yanhan on the shoulder, and said, "Mr. Li, let's go eat first, and look at it later." "Eat?" L was stunned and subconsciously said, "Why eat? These things are too important. I want." At this point, L realized where he was, and quickly changed his words. "Sorry, Mr. Zhou, I was too fascinated by it." "Eat, right? Are you ready? By the way, how long have I been reading it?" L stood up, and said with a blank face. Zhou Yang said, "You've been reading it for an hour." "What, have I been reading it for an hour?" L was startled and said, "Mr. Zhou, you just said that you wrote these things." L looked at Zhou Yang in disbelief. He had always thought that Zhou Yang was a high-ranking official, but now that he saw these things, he realized that Zhou Yang might not be a high-ranking official. Because these things, even a scientist might not be able to research them. "Are you a researcher?" L asked tentatively. Zhou Yang nodded and said, "Yes, I'm a researcher. Otherwise who do you think I am? I thought you were a high-ranking official." L smiled, and a huge wave of emotions was set off in his heart. There are many researchers in China, but a researcher who can have such treatment, specially hire security guards when going out, and have Li Xianshu accompany him, and live in such a place, how can he be an ordinary scientist? Only the great men of the country can probably have such treatment. No wonder he can write these things. L said to himself. Matrix energy. Could it be that the Lungsan battery and Core 100 were also developed by him? L suddenly thought of another possibility. L didn't look down on Digi and high silicon Kirin, but he felt that the epoch-making future black technology like Lungsan battery and Core 100 was definitely not something that Digi and high silicon Kirin could develop. Zhou Yang, such an unknown and mysterious scientist who was highly valued by the country, seemed more reliable to develop these things. Chapter 70 Become more pure. Arrived at the restaurant. Luxurious and classical decoration, with some landscape paintings hanging on the walls on both sides. Li Yanhan glanced casually, and found a painting worth tens of millions. It was placed here, so there was no doubt about its authenticity. If I saw it correctly, the chairs in front of me should be made of Huanghua wood. These furnishings alone were worth an unknown amount of money. Such luxury made Li Yanhang, who was used to big occasions, feel a little pressure. The host and the guest sat down separately, and Zhou Yang said, I heard them say that the chef seemed to be a state banquet chef. I don't know what dishes he made, so I don't know much. If you feel uncomfortable with the taste, just tell me, and I can ask them to arrange it. Li Yanhan waved his hand and said, it doesn't matter, I can eat any taste. Just kidding. A master chef who makes state banquets, how can it not be delicious? The dishes are first class, and the shape is like a work of art, which makes people reluctant to put down their chopsticks. Zhou Yang looked calm, and he picked open the belly of a fish with chopsticks. For Zhou Yang, if he wanted to eat this kind of thing, he could eat it freely. Li Yanhan laughed dumbly, and then he started eating. After taking 2 bites, he asked, Mr. Zhao, why did you show me that thing just now? That kind of thing is a real secret. Isn't Zhou Yang afraid that he will copy it? Zhou Yang said, the thing was originally given to you. Why do you say I want to show it to you? For us? Li Yanhan was shocked. Was it given directly? Zhou Yang said, you just read it, and you should know that what I wrote is a big framework, but every detail still needs people to fill it in, and it is not something that can be completed by one or a few people. It requires thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, to work together to complete it. Li Yanhan nodded. He read it for an hour. Although he didn't finish it, he understood it. Just like Zhou Yang said, Zhou Yang took out a writing outline, but the specific plot inside still needs people to fill it in. And filling in all the content is not a small project. I'm afraid it really takes tens of thousands of people to do it. Zhou Yang continued, you know, matrix energy, if you want to cooperate, you have to split out a completely clean business company within your Beidou. Take this business company as the main body, and enter matrix energy. Beidou is different from Bide and High Silicon Kirin. The latter two are domestic companies, while Beidou, which had a foreign background at the beginning, was registered in the Cayman Islands, holding shares layer by layer, and controlling domestic corporate entities. And even now, Beidou's major shareholder is still a foreign investment bank. If you really want to cooperate, this is definitely not possible. Matrix Energy must be the leader to ensure that the core of artificial intelligence is under the control of the state. I understand. Li Yanhan nodded. After learning that Matrix Energy came to visit him, and there might be cooperation, because there was a precedent, Li Yanhan also inquired about the situation of Bide and High Silicon. From the situation he got, Bide and Huawei split out their relevant departments and merged them into Matrix Energy, or in other words, they were acquired by Matrix Energy. But Beidou's situation is more complicated, and it is not an easy thing to split it out. Seeing that Li Yanhan was a little hesitant, Zhou Yang said, I chose Beidou because you are a company with a solid foundation, and you have really made some things in the field of artificial intelligence. I don't know much about business matters. In fact, in my opinion, you Beidou is too complicated. Since you want to do artificial intelligence, you should make up your mind to do it, and do it with all your heart. The future of artificial intelligence is far beyond your imagination. If you really have this idea, you can make Beidou more pure and retain some core businesses. Whether it makes money or not is a small problem. As long as you do well, Matrix Energy will cover the bottom line for you. Li Yanhang opened his mouth wide. What Zhou Yang said really shocked him. Li Yanhang didn't enjoy the rest of the meal. After the meal, he didn't continue to read the contents of the notebook. He followed Zhou Yang around and left the manor. Li Ziyu appeared beside Zhou Yang and asked, "Mr. Zhou, do you think he will agree?" Zhou Yang shook his head and said, "How do I know? I'm not a god. I can't guess what he's thinking. Whether he agrees or not, it won't have any impact on the overall situation. For Wrongfully, a project worth hundreds of billions of yuan affects the entire body. It affects the jobs of tens of thousands of people and also his own future. But for Zhou Yang, these are all trivial matters. If the general direction is good, then it won't be wrong." In the next few days, Zhou Yang stayed in the manor, not waiting for Wrongfully's reply, but preparing to rest for a few days. After being busy for so long, Zhou Yang also felt a little tired. On this day, Wrongfully contacted Li Ziyu and told him that he would visit again. Zhou Yang agreed. At the same place, Wrongfully saw Zhou Yang and greeted him with a smile. He seemed to be in a good mood. "How is your consideration?" Zhou Yang asked after some politeness. Li Yanhang said, "I have thought about it seriously in the past 3 days. In fact, I'm just a technician. It is better to be more pure as you said, Mr. Zhou. I agree with your idea to streamline Beidou, but there are some difficulties now. First, the procedures for delisting abroad are more complicated. Second, it is not easy to deal with shareholders, mainly some foreign shareholders. Beidou implements app shares. Although Li Yanhang's management is not the largest shareholder, the board of directors has the greatest power, but it is still useless. It is not an easy thing to kick out shareholders." Zhou Yang smiled and said, "This is simple, a small matter, I will do it." As he said, Zhou Yang waved to Li Ziyu and said, "You contact directly and ask him to think of a way to kick out those foreign shareholders of Beidou." Li Ziyu nodded and left. As for how to do it, Zhou Yang didn't care. It was nothing more than some exchange of interests. Li Yanhang couldn't help but widen his eyes. The most difficult thing in his opinion was solved so easily by Zhou Yang. The key is that Li Yanhang still believes that Zhou Yang is not bragging, but really has the ability to solve the problem. "Okay, there's a pond in the back. Why don't we go fishing?" Zhou Yang said. "Okay." Li Yanhang nodded blankly, not expecting that things would go so smoothly. Li Xianshu operated very quickly. On the third day after Li Yanhang made the decision, Beidou's largest shareholder, the investment company DFJ of Country M, submitted a request to withdraw its shares to the Beidou board of directors. Li Yanhang was completely dumbfounded, as he did not expect DFJ to agree to withdraw its shares so quickly, and did not ask for too high a price. After kicking out DFJ, some of the remaining small foreign shareholders also submitted their withdrawal agreements. And then, there was only one thing left, which was to delist from the US stock market and re-register the company in China. Chapter 71 Delisting. On TikTok, a piece of financial news suddenly exploded the entire internet, attracting incredible attention. Breaking news. Beidou has officially submitted a delisting application to Nasdaq and is now going through the process. The delisting application will be completed in 7 working days at the earliest. This video also released the official announcement of the New York Stock Exchange, indicating that this matter is true. Many financial video accounts have reposted it, and the popularity has risen for a time, quickly reaching the top of the hot list. There are also an astonishing number of comments. What happened? Why did Beidou suddenly delist? Humph, I guess it couldn't survive in the United States, so it delisted. Among the 3 bad companies, only Beidou is declining. Brother, no matter how declining it is, it still has a market value of several hundred billion US dollars, especially in China. As long as the internet exists, Beidou will not fall. Do you think such a company will not survive and delist? It's better to delist. A foreign company came to our country Z to make money. If I were to ask you, even if it wants to go public, it should be listed in our A-share market. Stop it. Aren't you afraid of losing your pants by coming to the A-share market? Did Beidou not respond to such a big thing? Among the 3 bad companies, although Beidou has declined a little, it is an internet giant after all. its every move can still attract enough attention, not to mention such a shocking news as delisting. Many reporters who heard the news went to Baidu's headquarters for interviews. "Mr. Lee, should we respond to the rumors outside?" L said, "Then arrange a press conference in 3 days to announce what we are going to do next." 3 days later, at Baidu headquarters. After 3 days of preparation, the news of Baidu's delisting has become very popular, and almost all major mainstream media have come. Some media also broadcast live on their respective Douyin accounts, attracting many people to watch. The press conference has begun. Hey, L is here in person. For such a big thing as delisting, L must come out to explain the reason. At the scene, L and several senior executives took their seats one by one, and then L came on stage and announced, "Next, I will announce a few things on behalf of Baidu." At the same time, today is just an announcement, and there will be no question answering session. Please do not make any noise to affect the order on the scene. Many reporters looked at each other. The simpler the process, the bigger the matter. L coughed lightly and said loudly, "The first thing is that Baidu will be delisted from the US stock market, and all foreign shareholders will be cleared out, and the company in the Cayman Islands will be cancelled, and it will be re-registered in China, and all businesses will be incorporated into the new domestic company." As soon as L finished speaking, the reporters on the scene were in an uproar, and in the live broadcast room, there was also a lot of discussion. Delisting. Clearing out foreign capital. What is Baidu doing? Is it completely returning to China? I don't understand. Even if you want to focus on China, there is no need to kick out foreign capital. The key is why foreign capital is so obedient. Why are they willing to be kicked out? I remember that the largest shareholder of Baidu is Definju. They are a professional investment bank. They invested in Baidu and made a lot of money. How could they give up their shares? But it's still right to return to China. What's good about being abroad? Everyone was talking about it. L continued, "At the same time, I announced that Baidu will enter the integration phase, streamline and abandon some businesses, and optimize some businesses. For example, in the search business, unnecessary ads will be removed and switched to the right side advertising model to make the search results page neater." When this was said, all the reporters on the scene were dumbfounded. After hearing this, everyone's first thought was that Baidu was going to abolish itself. Search bidding advertising is Baidu's core business. It is because of this business that Baidu was honored to be among the BAT. However, in recent years, this business has been criticized for placing ads randomly and being able to make headlines by paying money, and even caused some lawsuits with amazing attention. But Baidu was unmoved and continued to do its own thing. Did Baidu not know that this thing was too deceptive? Of course not. It was still because of money. It could make money. But now, L announced that it would switch to right side advertising like Google. It can be expected that Baidu's advertising revenue will be greatly reduced. All reporters wanted to ask L why he was so kind all of a sudden. There was also an uproar in the live broadcast room. Oh my god, what is Baidu doing? Is it going to change its ways? I find that I don't understand L's actions. Has he really given up? Anyway, I support this change. Baidu's advertisements should be rectified. I'm afraid Baidu will go bankrupt because of this. To build a search engine, you need to buy a huge amount of data and servers, which is an astonishing expense. If Baidu continues to do this and then delists, it will probably be finished in a few years. Everyone was confused and didn't understand L's actions at all. L waved his hand to signal the scene to be quiet. He didn't explain why he wanted to streamline the business and abolish his own skills. He continued, "The next and most important decision is that after the integration is completed, Baidu will be wholly acquired by Matrix Energy. The specific acquisition method will not be announced to the public for the time being." Boom. The scene seemed to have been dropped by a bomb and was completely boiling. Although L said that no one could speak and disrupt the order of the scene, at this moment, no one could hold back. Crazy. Baidu is crazy. What are they going to do? Matrix Energy. It's this Matrix Energy again, wholly acquiring Baidu. My god. Think about it. Matrix Energy acquired Byte's battery business and HiSilicon Kirin. These two items alone are worth 150 billion. And now Baidu is added. What is the origin of Matrix Energy? It's too rich. Don't forget, Lungsan batteries and Core 100. These two technologies alone are worth an unknown amount of money. I saw experts speculate that these two things are worth at least 1 trillion. The key is that Matrix Energy was able to acquire these assets. Just think about how powerful they are. The reporters on the scene were going crazy. The onlookers in the live broadcast room were even more stunned. What happened? Did Beidou sell itself? Matrix Energy. What is the background of this company? It's too powerful. If Beidou acquires it, which company will be the next? Maybe it will be Info. These are not the key points. The key point is that after Matrix Energy acquired Biden HiSilicon, these two companies immediately came up with black technologies such as Lungsan batteries and Core 100. Now it has acquired Beidou. What do you think Beidou will come up with next? I dare not think about it. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. This world is too crazy. Chapter 72 Recruitment advertisements are on CCTV. The press conference was, just as Li Yanhang said, there was no question and answer session. After releasing 3 pieces of news, Li Yanhang waved to everyone and left. A large number of reporters were left, and they wanted to ask questions, so many times that they almost vomited blood, but they had no way to do it. The next day, as expected, the front page headlines were all about Matrix Energy's acquisition of Beidou. And to everyone's surprise, Beidou really started to change according to what Li Yanhang said. Now when you open Beidou, there is no recommended news or hot list except a search box. It's simple, just a search box. And after searching for something, there will no longer be a bunch of useless ads popping up. The search results are all on the left, and there are some ads on the right. The whole page is simple and clear. After so many years, the Beidou I'm familiar with is back. Countless netizens were excited. Then, the problems of Tiba and Beijiahao that many people criticized were all rectified. Tiba's power was completely decentralized. All Beijiahao accounts were shut down, and users who installed Beidou's family bucket, security guards and other software suddenly received pop-ups from Beidou, claiming that the software would be permanently shut down and no longer provide any services. Even Beidou NetDisk has lifted the speed limit and even stopped selling memberships. For a time, countless people exclaimed that Beidou had changed its ways. In Douyin, countless jokes popped up overnight. Something like I opened Beidou and there were no pop-ups today. I suddenly felt so strange. In short, what everyone couldn't believe was that Beidou really streamlined according to what Li Yanhang said and suddenly turned from a company that was dead for money into a public welfare company. Some big V's even put up the slogan that the streamlined Beidou can survive for a few years, claiming that according to Beidou's rectification method, Beidou will close down in 3 years at most. In fact, the remaining businesses of Beidou are basically not profitable, and they can only get some advertising fees. Tencent headquarters. Ma Huateng looked at the middle-aged man in front of him. This middle-aged man was called Huquan, a representative sent by Beidou. What the hell are you doing? Ma Huateng couldn't help asking. Huquan came over to sell Beidou's assets to them on behalf of Beidou. Let's look at what Beidou is selling. Heyo 123 navigation website, Beidou Music, Beidou Games, Beidou Browser, Beidou Naomi, Beidou Maps. It can be said that except for the core business of search engine, all other businesses have been put on the shelf by Beidou. The businesses that Beidou has been able to keep and are still running cannot be said to be failed. They are worth a lot. Now that they are all sold, it means they are going bankrupt and quitting. This made Ma Huateng a little confused. Huguan smiled and said, Boss Ma, I'm just a small vice president. How can I know what Boss Li is thinking? Ma Huateng thought for a while and suddenly asked, by the way, what project does Matrix Energy want to cooperate with you on? This. Huguan was interrupted by Ma Huateng before he finished speaking, saying, don't think about it. It's artificial intelligence, right? But I'm really curious, what kind of project can make Beidou make such a big transformation and give up so many businesses? Aren't you making money? Oh, I understand. It's Matrix Energy that's backing you up, right? Ma Huateng was not stupid. He could figure out the reason. Since the state has taken over, profits and losses are not important. The state will directly back you up. I used to envy Beidou a little, but now, I don't envy it so much. Ma Huateng said. If he cooperated with Zhou Yang, he would probably do the same as Beidou, kicking out foreign investment and splitting up the business. Boss Lee is impulsive. Ma Huateng shook his head and said he felt that no matter what kind of project it was not worth Li Yanhang to pay such a high price. Picking up the documents on the table again, Ma Huateng read them carefully. Since Beidou was selling, why shouldn't he buy it? In the past, he couldn't buy it, even if he wanted to. The same scene was played out all over the country. Soon, someone revealed that Beidou was frantically selling its business. For a time, people inside Beidou were in turmoil. Tiba Business Department. I heard that the IKIE department next door has been disbanded, and many R&D staff have been given direct holidays. A high quality asset like IKIE will definitely be easy to sell. No matter whether it is high quality or not, I think the higher-ups are determined to sell it all. At worst, they can just reduce the price in the end. Tiba department should be fine. After all, Tiba is one of Beidou's core businesses. Brother, it is one of them, not the most core. I really envy the search engine guys now. No matter who has problems, they will not have any problems. I really don't know what's so good about this matrix energy. Just acquire it. Why do you want us to streamline our business? At this moment, the head of the business unit walked in, clapped his hands, attracting everyone's attention, and then said loudly, "Okay, starting tomorrow, except for the basic maintenance personnel, the rest of the people will be on holiday. Tiba has been sold to Alibaba." There was a wailing sound at the scene. You're crazy. You even sold Tiba. Do you want to quit? Stop it. What's the point of complaining? This is a decision from above. What's the point of being dissatisfied? Forget it. Find a job quickly. With so many departments removed at once, many people will probably be looking for jobs. Why don't you just go to Alibaba? It's just right for Alibaba to buy us and use our original team. I heard that Alibaba's salary is quite high. Everyone was talking in a low voice, and the atmosphere was filled with sadness. The person in charge glanced at everyone and said, "Don't be so gloomy. The sky hasn't fallen, and no one said they are going to fire you. Next, the company will have a big project, and everyone will participate. And I can tell you in advance that your salary will increase at that time." Big project? What big project? Everyone was shocked. Beidou had sold all the businesses that could be sold. What big project could there be? The person in charge smiled mysteriously and said, "Don't worry, you will know in 10 days. Beidou's sale of business has attracted much discussion from major media and the public. Major headhunting companies have also heard the news. After selling so many core businesses, Beidou must lay off employees. Of course, those who can join Beidou are not ordinary people. But at this time, 10 days later, there was suddenly a message on Beidou's official website. In addition, major media websites and many user apps have received relevant pop-up news. Beidou has invested hundreds of billions to fully enter the field of artificial intelligence. Now it is ready to fight. It is now recruiting computer-related talents from all over the country. The salary is much higher than the industry standard and the treatment is generous. As long as you have talent, you can come. As soon as this announcement came out, the industry was shocked. What's more shocking is that on the night of the announcement, the wine advertisement before the 7 o'clock news was replaced with a recruitment advertisement shot by Beidou for the first time. This advertisement directly made it known to everyone that Beidou was going to develop artificial intelligence. Chapter 73, Recruiting Talents Nationwide. This advertisement is not a shoddy one, but a well-made one. It doesn't even look like a job advertisement. At the beginning of the advertisement, the male protagonist is awakened by a friendly call. The curtains of the bedroom are automatically opened. With the sound of pleasant music, the male protagonist gets up and goes to the bathroom. "Da Huang, is there any email for me?" the man asked while brushing his teeth. On the mirror opposite, some information is scrolling, which is weather information in the latest news. A voice sounded beside his ear. "Master, you haven't read email." It is a reply email sent by Beidou. "Congratulations, Master, you have been accepted by Beidou." The man cheered excitedly. The camera moved, and the male protagonist changed his clothes under the recommendation of the mysterious voice and went out. A dreamy car had stopped in front of him. "Get in the car, this is an unmanned car." A holographic projection appeared on the car's dashboard. It was a Gundam mecha. It can be seen that the male protagonist is a Gundam enthusiast. Master Zero reports to you. The destination is detected and request to set off. Set off. The male protagonist gave an order and the car rushed onto the road. At the end of the ad, the male protagonist joins Beidou and a slogan pops up. Join us and change the world together. This ad is obviously a big production, shot with the texture of a movie. The key is that it can be played in this ad segment before the countdown to the 7 o'clock news, which is unprecedented. There are also many discussions about this ad on the internet. Is Beidou going all out on AI? Did it sell off so many businesses before? Is it to concentrate its efforts? Such a bold decision. Beidou has been working on AI for a while. Didn't they say they were working on autonomous driving? I wonder what they can come up with this time. Who knows? Anyway, there are so many people who say they want to work on AI, but none of them have actually done it. What you think is all empty talk. We are just ordinary people. We should be more realistic. I don't know if Beidou will really give high salaries for the big fanfare it has made this time. I have already changed jobs and submitted my resume. Let's see the results live. To tell you the truth, Beidou is serious this time. I got an offer from Beidou in advance. The salary for a 5-year programmer is indeed higher than the industry average, 35k a month. Oh my god, it's so high. A 5-year programmer can get 35k, which is at least 40 to 50% higher than the industry average. No more words. Go submit your resume now. Beidou not only spent money, but also started poaching people. Tencent headquarters. Old Wu, what do you mean by this? You're resigning. You're doing well. Why? Wu Yinming, the head of the artificial intelligence department, submitted a resignation letter to his superior. I just want to change jobs. Wu Yinming was a little embarrassed. Just change jobs. Humph, don't tell me that Beidou is here to poach you. Tell me, how much money are they going to give you? The person in charge was angry. In the past few days, many people have submitted their resignations. After careful questioning, they were all poached by Beidou. And Wu Yinming was the first high-level technical staff poached by Beidou. Wu Yinming was exposed in front of him and blushed. Just tell me, how many tens of thousands a year? 60 or 70? Isn't it just money? Beidou is not short of money, and we Tencent are not short of money either. You tell me how much they offer, I guarantee it will be 10% higher than them. Wu Yinming hesitated for a moment and said, they give me 1.2 million a year. How much? The person in charge suddenly widened his eyes, lost his breath, and started coughing violently. Are they crazy? The person in charge screamed. Wu Yinming's current salary is less than 500,000 yuan a year, and Beidou has doubled it to 1.2 million yuan. It's no wonder that Wu Yinming is tempted. As for the words that he just shouted, that he wanted to earn 10% more than Beidou, he didn't dare to say it again. After hesitating for a while, the person in charge whispered, by the way, is it the headhunter who contacted you, or someone from Beidou? Can you help me contact them and see if they need any personnel? Ideals and responsibilities are all nonsense, and money is still real. Wu Yinming scratched his head, laughing and crying. Similar scenes are constantly happening in major internet companies. Beidou waved money and spent money crazily to poach people, and they really poached a lot of people. Even some business tycoons stood up and complained that Beidou was not doing things properly and breaking industry rules. Beidou didn't care about these. After integrating the business, they had money, not to mention that there was a matrix energy behind them. In a month, Beidou completed the business integration and formed a large R&D team of more than 23,000 people who were intensively engaged in R&D work. At this time, news suddenly came from HiSilicon. The mass production problem of Xianxin 100 has been solved. It is nearly half a month ahead of schedule. Yu Changhang also contacted Zhou Yang and wanted Zhou Yang to attend the groundbreaking ceremony. Zhou Yang thought about it and refused. He was also very busy and there was no need. After the control core was solved, Zhou Yang's eyes were already on another key system of the Mecha, the propulsion system. The difficulty of this particle propulsion system is not low. Although the system provides complete technical information, many of the technical difficulties in the production process are not so easy to solve. Zhou Yang's plan is to wait for Zhu Chen and Li Bingxuan to complete the projects at hand, integrate them, and invest in the research and development of the propulsion system. If Zhou Yang didn't come, Yu Chenghang didn't dare to say much. He knew that Zhou Yang was not an ordinary person. In his opinion, the mass production of SYNOPSIS 100 was a great event, but for Zhou Yang, it was probably nothing. On December 16th, Yu Chenghang posted a message on his Weibo. On December 24th, Christmas Eve, Mate 40, see you there. A Weibo post shook the entire internet. SYNOPSIS 100's debut is here. When the news came out, Apple was also shocked. Apple executives gathered together to check the collected information. Compared with ordinary people, Apple's information is more detailed. All the information was collected from Huawei's suppliers. After reading the collected configuration information, Cook was overwhelmed. Everything that can be installed is installed, an executive said depressedly. Yes, 120Hz refresh screen, dual stereo speakers, 3D structured light, under-screen camera, LPDDR5 and UFS 3.0. The key is their body. How can it be so thin? Huawei has installed all the configurations that should be available at the flagship level. Damn, it's all because of the Lungsum battery. The internal space of the mobile phone is limited. Many configurations are not that mobile phone manufacturers don't want to install, but there is no space for them to install, so they can only castrate the configuration. Now, because of the Lungsum battery, the internal space can be freed up a lot, and it can also have a large capacity. Cook looked at the head of the supply department and asked, how are the negotiations with BYD going? Can we get the goods? Apple also wanted to use Lungsum batteries, but the key was that there was no stock, and it has not received it until now. Chapter 74 M40 release. The person in charge of supplier management shook his head. No, there is still no stock. As far as I know, Didi has allocated at least half of their production to electric vehicles. Not to mention us, even their own mobile phone manufacturers have limited batteries. Damn, what kind of electric cars are they making? Cook cursed in frustration. This kind of high-tech battery is a complete waste to use in electric vehicles. But the current situation is that by next year, 100% of all mobile phone manufacturers will release large capacity Lungsum battery mobile phones, and Apple has not yet received Lungsum batteries. Think about it, all mobile phones on the market are tens of thousands of mAh, or even hundreds of thousands of mAh, and Apple is still 3000 mAh, 5W super fast charging, and it is estimated that there is not a single one that can compete. No matter what, we must get the Lungsum battery, do you understand? Cook shouted. Everyone was silent for a while, and then an executive asked, what should we do now? Cook gritted his teeth and said, I have discussed with Qualcomm, Intel, and Nvidia. This time, we will unite and attack Huawei in an all-round way. This is a life and death battle. Either they die or we die. We must not let them rise, otherwise the order we have worked hard to build for so many years will be destroyed by them. The Core 100 that V brought out is a black technology that can change the situation of the entire industry. If V rises, then they will have nothing to do. So this time, many companies have united together and plan to suppress V in all aspects. Fruit, Aina, Yingda, and Maotong. These four companies have market value of more than $1 trillion. In Cook's view, V is definitely not a match, and the first shot of suppression will start from Fruit. Yu Chenghang announced that the M40 will be released soon, and he also began to build momentum, online advertising, physical advertising, regardless of the cost of spending money. The intensity is amazing. Kingshan Center is also intensively arranging the press conference. Time is gradually approaching the 24th. But on the 23rd, Yu Chenghang suddenly received bad news. What? The European venue is not going to be rented to us. How could this happen? We have already signed the contract. What? They are willing to pay for the breach of contract. Sue them and make them compensate for our losses. What? They said they are not afraid of our lawsuit. Fine. Find me a lawyer now and sue them. This time, V planned to hold the press conference in China and Europe simultaneously. Because V mobile phones are doing well in the European market, the key is to sell at a higher price and make more money. But Yu Changhang didn't expect that 2 days before the press conference, the exhibition center rented in Europe suddenly unilaterally breached the contract and put on a rogue attitude of a dead pig not afraid of boiling water. Compensation. You can sue. Anyway, you are not allowed to hold the press conference. The key is that there is still 1 day before the press conference. If you want to find another place and rearrange it, it is too late. Damn, someone must be playing tricks. Yu Changhang cursed inwardly. He had already smelled the scent of conspiracy. He knew that the release of Core 100 had affected the interests of many people. These forces had not reacted before, not because they were kind, but because they were waiting for Huawei to make the first move. Now, the underhanded move came. HMPH, the more so, the more I can't let you be complacent. Yu Changhang secretly made up his mind. For Huawei, this was also a counterattack. On the 24th, the spacious venue of Kingshan Center was full of people. Various live broadcast platforms also broadcast the whole process live. Many netizens enthusiastically discussed the configuration. There's nothing much to say about the configuration. It has Xiangxin 100 plus Lungsan battery, and the other configurations have basically been exposed. It has everything it should have. I'm only concerned about the price now. It seems that only the Pro version is equipped with Core 100, and the regular version is still equipped with Kirin 1000. No problem, I'll buy it, just for Core 100, as long as the price is not too high. Yes, this is a chip we developed ourselves, we must support it. In the past, we could only use other people's chips, but now we finally use our own designed and produced mobile phone chips, but the performance is still 100 times that of others. Haha, I want to know what Apple and Qualcomm think now. I guess they will be so angry. I heard that it will be officially launched tomorrow Christmas Day, and I have already thought of a gift for my girlfriend. It's M40. Many netizens talked about it, and the most discussed was the price. Configuration is a flagship phone after all, but all the new technologies that can be thought of will definitely be used. Otherwise how can it be called a flagship phone? The time came to 10 o'clock. The press conference began. Yu Changhang appeared and said loudly, "It's been more than a month since we met again." After a brief opening speech, Yu Changhang went straight to the point. Then let's take a look at the actual machine first. Yu Changhang took out a mobile phone from the box. Waterfall screen, ultra thin body. Huawei has always been strong in industrial design. This phone is so thin, only 6.5mm. It's too exaggerated. It's still because of the battery. Once the battery technology breaks through, the internal space will be larger. I saw a report before that Xiaomi plans to redesign the motherboard and no longer use the current 3-layer motherboard. Let go of the motherboard and integrate the Lungsan battery into the motherboard. In this way, the phone will only become thinner and thinner. The ultra-thin body, combined with the eye-catching industrial design, this mobile phone is like a work of art in Yu Changhang's hand. Next, Yu Changhang still followed the process and began to introduce the configuration of the mobile phone. As expected, all kinds of top configurations are available. You're so slow. You might as well come up and quote the price directly. That's right. What's the point of introducing the configuration? We already know it. The key is the price. Finally, after an hour of the press conference, Yu Changhang finally finished introducing all the configurations of the phone. The configuration is top-notch, and it's still top-notch. And unlike before, the standard version was not castrated. Compared with the Pro version, the standard version only has a different chip. Yu Changhang put down the phone and said, "Next, it should be the link to announce the price." I think this is also what many people are concerned about. At the press conference, there were also netizens watching the live broadcast, and they instantly became excited. How much will the world's first mobile phone equipped with Core 100 sell for? Yu Changhang smiled and said, "We'll reveal the answer to this mystery later." As soon as these words came out, there was an uproar at the scene. There was also a lot of scolding on the internet. "Yu Changhang, you've had enough. Will you die if you tell me the price? You're keeping it a secret like this. I want to scold you." But at the press conference, Yu Changhang's next words shocked everyone again. Yu Changhang waved his hand and said, "Next, I want to announce one thing, that is, M40 will be equipped with our newly developed Hongmeng system. Hongmeng system. This system that has always been in the legend was finally brought to the stage by V in an instant. The scene and the live broadcast platform were all blown up. Chapter 75 Digging Your Own Grave. Recalling that not long ago, Google issued an announcement to cut off the Google Suite on Huawei phones. This fundamentally cut off Huawei phones from the overseas market. Because foreign Android users cannot do without the Google Suite, just like not allowing you to use WeChat on your phone, you will definitely give up using it. At that time, countless people felt aggrieved and felt sorry for Huawei, thinking that Huawei might be unable to recover. But at that time, Huawei took out the Hongmeng system. And what happened not long ago is so similar. TSMC, under the instruction of the United States, no longer manufactures Kirin chips. Huawei's counterattack is Xiangxin 100. In the live broadcast room, comments appeared like a screen. Oh my god, I thought the Hongmeng system was already cold, but it really came out. Nothing to say, Huawei is awesome. It should be like this. The more setbacks, the more courageous. Sooner or later all localization. What's the point of all localization? We should sanction them, just like they control us. Apple headquarters. Cook and other Apple executives also watched the live broadcast of the press conference through the internet platform. When Yu Changhang announced that Mate 40 will be equipped with Hongmeng system, Cook and others also exploded. Damn it, they really made this system. Impossible, it must be fake. They don't have the technology. Don't fool yourself, they have announced that the whole system is equipped. Of course they have been researched. Even if it is researched, what can it do? The ecosystem. The key is the ecosystem. The core of the mobile phone system is the ecosystem. Just like Apple's core competitiveness is definitely not Apple mobile phones, but the ISO ecosystem they have built over many years of operation. All software developers help them develop software. It is easy for you to create a new system. If software vendors don't help you develop software, naturally no one will use it. Not to mention, there is an important reason of habit. At this time, at the press conference, Yu Changhang announced that the Hongmeng system will be compatible with all Android applications and has already done in-depth cooperation with mainstream domestic developers. For example, Tencent, NetEase, etc. will port all their games to the Hongmeng platform and will also launch several new games. This shows that Huawei has also opened up software developers, not to mention that the Hongmeng system is also compatible with current Android software. It can be said that Hongmeng system and Android system will be able to replace each other seamlessly. Apple headquarters. After Yu Changhang's announcement, a group of executives fell silent. Huawei is already building the ecosystem of Hongmeng. Once Huawei succeeds, the consequences will be disastrous. Everyone looked at Cook. Cook's face was so gloomy that water could drip out. Hongmeng system, they will come up with it sooner or later. Huawei is very ambitious. I have seen this a long time ago. Okay, don't panic. Rome was not built in a day. It is not so easy for them to build an ecosystem. What I'm most concerned about now is the price of their Mate 40. Cook said slowly. At the press conference, Yu Changhang demonstrated the Hongmeng system. Its excellent adaptability and system interface can be called perfect. Okay, the next step is the most popular link, which is the price link. In an instant, the press conference was silent. There were fewer discussions on the internet. With this configuration, plus the perfect combination of looms and batteries and Xiangxin 100, the Pro version starts at least 6,999. Not to mention the regular version, which is 4,999 at most. The key is the Pro. It's the world's first Xiangxin 100. If it really sells for 7,000, it's not expensive. Are those who are calling it 7,000 dreaming? This is Xiangxin 100. Apple 12 relies on only an A14, but dares to sell it to you for more than 8,000. The performance of Xiangxin 100 is 100 times that of Apple. Why does it sell for more than 7,000? That's right. Some people have been kneeling for so long that they really can't stand up. The configurations of our own mobile phones are better than those. Why should we sell them cheaper than them? I support the starting price of 9,000. That's right. Xianxin 100, the only one in the world. Why should it be sold so cheaply? Believe it or not, if Xianxin 100 was developed by Apple, would it dare to sell it to you for 20,000? So not only does it have to sell more expensive than Apple, but it also has to sell abroad to grab Apple's market. Yu Changhang didn't keep it in suspense any longer and announced the pricing directly. The standard version of Mate 40 starts at $59.99. This price is not too high. Although Kirin 1000 cannot be compared with Xianxin 100, it is also a top-level 5nm chip and is not much different from A14. In addition to the high configuration, selling it for 6,000 is already a conscious price. When the price was announced, there was an uproar at the scene. There was also an uproar in the live broadcast room. It's so expensive, I'm defeated. The standard version starts at 6,000, so the Xianxin 100 version will be 8,000 or 9,000. Don't say 8,000 or 9,000, just 49, 10,000. At the press conference, Yu Changhang paused and then announced the price of the Pro version $84.99. When this price came out, it was beyond the expectations of many people. I thought it would cost 4 nines, but it's only $84.99, which is a bit cheap. It doesn't matter how much it costs. Don't you realize that this price is the same as the price of Apple 12 Pro? Good man, Huawei is going to make trouble. And the standard version is $59.99, which is about the same price as Apple 12. I understand that Huawei is targeting Apple to set the price. Apple headquarters. As soon as the price was announced, many executives laughed. Haha, they dare to sell it so expensively. Are they courting death? That's right. Who do they think they are? At this price, who would buy this? If they want to buy, they will definitely buy our Apple 12. They dare to sell it at the same price as us. They don't deserve it at all. Many executives were completely relieved. What they feared most was that Huawei would sell it at a super low price. In that case, the performance would be better than Th's, and the price would be lower than Th's, then they would be in real trouble. And now, Huawei is selling it so high, it's simply digging its own grave. Cook finally smiled and said, Huawei is too arrogant, but we can't take it lightly. They're going to release it tomorrow, right? Go, make an announcement and we'll also reduce the price by 1,000 yuan to completely defeat them. Reducing 1,000 yuan, isn't that too much? I think a reduction of a few hundred yuan will be enough. Cook shook his head and said, no, just reduce 1,000 yuan. I'm going to completely defeat them this time, and can't give them a chance to turn over. Okay, 1,000 yuan is 1,000 yuan. Anyway, we still have money to make. Apple's profit is not ordinary, let alone reducing 1,000 yuan. Even if it reduces 2,000 or 3,000 yuan, it still has money to make. The price of Mate 40 was announced, and there was a lot of discussion on the internet. Many people said that Huawei sold it too expensively. If it was all reduced by 1,000 yuan, it might still sell well. Now that it is benchmarked against Apple, it is estimated that Huawei will suffer a Waterloo this time. Huawei did not respond to these criticisms and ignored them. The official website immediately launched the new phone, and it will be sold nationwide at 8 AM on the 25th at the same time as offline. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.